5. You're noticing people going down in the feed. Every time that happens is basically a placement point almost allocated for DKS. 147, he just wants to live and just expend those matches alive. Already 154, just ahead of that third place team. Depending on who goes down first, you might see a shift in the boards.
Problem is, he doesn't have mats to expend. He's out. He's all the way out, and so the time is really ticking for him. I think he might spot these builds here to his right. There is something. Yep, he will. And that's 200
River in the middle right now.
with.
Yeah, he's in the low ground. He doesn't have to deal with that water, though. We'll stay on land. He can't really find anything in terms of a pattern. Anything towards that backside. He's really tanking the zone to find the launch pad, but you need HP to be able to jump from it, Link. Unfortunate. I like the decision-making, though, to maybe get towards that spot, but it was just so far up. One of the negatives of being on low ground overall. Meanwhile, DKS, I think, also just had no other options, no mats. He'll be alive with his. See what he can do, picking an us. Set up in position, fully a complete solo right now. Figures just diving straight inside that box, shots from the backside too, but Anas is there to deny it, and this is the position where we see VR's Pink, Anas with a refresh, looking to control this game.
Yeah, those mats were so important. You saw how Pink's material count shot all the way up. You can see Noah and Aqua on height, and so whether or not they'll be able to get that right now is a different question, but can Noah and Aqua hold on to it? You can see Aqua isn't looking too strong in terms of HP, and the materials are starting to dwindle as well.
XW's moving in, and Lex alive either. Every single person it looks like inside the top 5 has to play as a solo to on the boards alive. Meanwhile, Noah Riley swinging all the way towards the front, fighting Chulex and Chico. You can see that on the left side of your screen. Putrick, though, sneaks that high ground with Toos, and Toos is inside the box with Noah Riley. He takes Noah almost down, has a hair of HP, and it gets snipped. A nice fade. Aqua now right below that box has to hear his teammate go down. Elim and gone. He's going to be by himself.
Yeah, you can see X-Squeeze as well now. One of those solos. Him and DKS are both struggling, but DKS was able to find an elimination on the backside in the bottom right. And so this is huge for him. It keeps him ticking in the game just that bit longer, and that's exactly what he needs. He can't go for the win right now, but all he needs is the extra placement points. They go a long way when we go to the last game, and so he will just continue to stay alive.
DKS takes down first place, and he's in second, or maybe just chops it in half. Maybe Pink has to possibly go for that clutch as well to keep that slot up top. Putrick and Tusto on that top side. They're going to be looking down momentarily for some sprays for that pressure. And we saw this on day one. No one was able to really retake on high ground, except for that maybe very last game. And Tripper, one of the players who can have a possibility to do that, goes down as well on the low. No one's even finding DKS, though. It's going to be tough. All he has to do is just stay around these walls, make sure nothing bad happens, but we do smell solos down there. It's an intuition for these European players, and he gets taken out.
Will X-Squeeze be spotted out as well? It seems he's getting sniffed out from below. He's got to hold on to his wall, but there's players above him as well. He will go down as well.
Now we have Scram, no ref guard. Saw this many times before, and we can expect greatness. With 13 HP, though, we can't have that Scram classic of dipping in and outside that zone. Really playing the timing very well. A player who can do it so well. He's not going to have the possibility. Here goes Floki for high ground up against Putrick. It's a retake. It's just himself, though. I don't see Clement. Where is he? Toos, he's not going to fall for such simple tricks. He keeps that high ground secure and alive.
Yeah, they did incredibly well to stay composed. Floki was no real threat, and they treated him that way. Scram, though, as a solo, will eventually find his maker, and he will go out. Trulex and Chico are the only duo now in between high ground and low ground, as Janice and Vortex look to try reclaim their first game success.
Every single team is sharing the same 2 boxes, and Vortex and Janice, if you have those guys in the equation, they just solved that problem with 2 shots and a big pop. That's what I like to see. Vortex with the sprays, Janice there to follow up, and now they control that little bit of a low ground layer. Still, Andy in the way with art skill as well. 2 solos in the mix. Swag and Pablo alive, but their mats are running out. High ground is still staying quiet. Putrick have to do absolutely nothing. They can just win this game. Pablo has so much ammunition. Just a few mats, though. He's going to go for the edit on Chulex. That's a double shot. It looks good, and he's down. Chico is going to be the next one. Surprised after that jump scare. Pablo might go for the re-edit. There's no chance for that revival. Chico's going to just fade dodge towards the right side. Pablo will move in through this labyrinth. Can he solve this maze? Art's kill another retake that Toos has to deal with, and they're not even running out of the mats. I'm not sure what type of treasury, what type of economy this entire duo has, but it's going to be split in half. What a shot from Toos. Catches the head. This man only hits the most prime prestige shots you can find, and it's lucky that he had all the mats as well. 4 different teams, and he's going to be the focus. Chopped down now by the Flame Boys back and forth. The fire's too hot. Toos might not be able to survive. He gets burned, and he's down. We have new high ground kings.
Cerebral play from the Danes and Danes. are on fire. Swag and Pablo will drop down now to try and claim the first victory royale of the day. Swag will go down, and so it's left in the hands of Pablo. They've done so well so far, and now in a 1v1 against Janice, who won against Vortex. Janice and Vortex in a 2v1. Vortex is up, but with not much HP. Will he be the difference maker? Will he decide to go up and try and take Pablo on? Pablo trying to hold on. He doesn't have the materials left. He's dancing around in the zone. He realizes he can get Vortex. That's going to be the siphon that will come through, but will it come in time? 10 seconds. He will get it. And so he stays up. And now can he hit the crucial last shot? No! Yes. Janice will pick it up. They won game 1 of day 1, and they win game 1 of day 2. The German Giants come through again.
I can't believe it. It's deja vu. And in a way, that's more special than that first day as well. Janice and Vortex, this is not a position where they usually win games. There's a little bit more sense of control overall. But Janice, the clutch minister himself, just rolls in, hits that big shot. And that's like the third one we saw in the end game. Toos was hitting them too. What a way to start off EU.
That was phenomenal from Janice and Vortex. Like you said, they're used to winning games on height, but they did it from low. And like we said so many times yesterday, these guys like to get in early, get their victory royales done quick and easy. Guys, tell me on the desk, how did that all break down? There was so much going on, so many of the top duos playing as solos. Break it all down for us, guys.
Shia Wager and Levin, thank you guys so much. Game number 1, or 7 in the grand scheme of things, is done. My goodness, chaos. Just chaos as far as the eye can see. Boop, I was very surprised to just watch these solo riders, right? One of their duel mates falling early, and then they just had to fight by themselves. What happened in this game?
Yeah, you couldn't script a better end game there. That was ridiculous. Almost coming through Swag and Pablo with a clutch. Unfortunately there, he did get the siphon the last minute. I thought he was about to do it, but the little swimming dolphin dive action coming through from Janice and Vortex was just enough to come through. I mean, I don't know how Janice and Vortex were able to do it again, but yesterday they sort of slowed off towards the end of the final, but now starting off day with another victory out, you know, of similar fashion. That has to give you so much more confidence going into this, you know, final 5 games now.
Yeah, and I think that final moment summarized the team as a whole, right? You've got Janice, the most experienced player almost in the entire lobby, having 12 in a row, actually, FNCS finals, right? He's only missed one, which was Season X, all the way back in Chapter 1, a long, long time ago, right? And you've got him teaming up with Vortex, who's a relatively newer player to the finals, less experienced, but just incredibly proficient at the same time, right? You see that final 1v1, like in our 2v that situation where, you know, usually Vortex, if you're going across water, there's almost no HP right now. Vortex should be going back, and he should be going back to make sure that the opponent doesn't get siphoned. So Pablo, for the example. But the experience and the lack of experience kind of shows here. He goes down, but then the veteran Janice comes up with a clutch. He knows what to do in these pressure situations, picking up that victory royale.
Always put your faith in Janice.
100%.
And it's just so clean, right? In those situations, like Janice just knowing, look, I know the spot that you're in, and I know how low Vortex is. So if I just say, look, you have to finish this off, you're in the storm, I know where you're going to be. Like, I'm just going to challenge you. I have literally every advantage, right? The experience and the different experiences really coming into play there. Because, you know, other people might just panic. They might just be like, okay, well, I have the circle. I just have to stay with this.
Yeah.
That's my only option. But when you're Janice, you're just like, nah. I know he's going to be. I hit my shots. I'm good. So well fought from them. I got to turn my attention to the standings, boys. Wow. Earlier on that game, okay, the top 7 all fell. Right? So this is what Sundown would call the shoop inning happening, okay? So we're seeing that the bottom end of these leaderboards start to shift up now, right? Starting to close that gap. Toos and Patrick, though, just still holding on. Pink and Anas right behind them. But now you've got Vortex and Janice here. They're like, hey, first place, we're only 5 points behind. What's going on? We got 5 more games. You want to do this now?
Yeah, it's so close to the top. I think it was kind of interesting. I think Vishu mentioned it while we were looking at the games. I think something like, you know, all 5 duos on top. I think only Anas and Pink were the only ones left there going on through, which is kind of ridiculous. It picks up the standings and makes it so much more closer at the top.
Yeah, so basically, when in that first moving zone, it was Pink and Anas were the only team in that top 7 who were still in it. You know, Link was so close, but he ended up going down that first moving zone. So it's like that shaked up those leaderboards massively. But you know, we did see Vortex and Janice win game 1 yesterday and then fizzle out a little bit. And they're a very momentum-based team, and we saw that yesterday. So I'm thinking they've got the good momentum now. If they have a good game number 2, we're going to see, hopefully, you know, maybe then continue to fire up the leaderboards at the same time.
With Pink and Anas as well. My goodness. Again, like I talked about this all day yesterday, right? It's so difficult to kind of pick a favorite. small tech that's happening across the games, right, Boop?
Yeah. And you saw that Pablo and Swag, why we showed them taking that card there, because they took Pick and Anas's mobility. And that meant that they were late to rotate, with Texan and Castry catching them off guard in zone. And that caused them to rotate very slowly and late. And you saw them, they got caught out, caught lacking. And that small little issue of Swag and Pablo taking their car ended up in this, down in 29th place. You know, just those small things in spawn fights can just have massive butterfly effects. And it is scary because, you know, all these other guys, they're coming back up towards the leaderboard. And, you know, now you're down.
Yeah, and also you got to think the other people who are impacted, Thomas and Tayson, right? Thomas and Tayson coming out with that drop spot, having all of this mess around them, capitalized on that, actually did well on Storm Surge for once, and they were on height. Obviously, they weren't able to capitalize on the Victory Royale aspect of that, but they did manage to have a good game because of it.
That's right. I love it. Reese, let's take a look at the standings together, okay?
Ooh,
I want to see how this is all shit. Yeah, it's me and you. Of course, Boop's
Sorry,
here. You
Boop.
know, he's here.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Once again, Grolls and Clown have taken over that spot. So we kind of saw them for like the briefest moment, Reese. We saw one of them go down, and the other was just sitting there. They were out of materials, and they had to make these plays in the low ground. But it's kind of fine, Reese, right? Like, as long as you hit placement, you don't even need eliminations, really. You're just trying to hold on.
Well, you say that, but they have the most eliminations, right?
True.
They have the most eliminations so far, and 3 of the games that they've played, they've gone over 7 or more eliminations. So, like, they are spragging out like a low ground team should, right? Historically, in trios, when you see teams on the low ground, they're able to create such a good tarp and capitalize on the players who have low HP, low materials, pick up tons of elimination points because of that. And we've not seen that too much in GOs, but now with Grolls and Clown, they are easily able to do that.
Yeah, and I want to mention Hen and Queasy here real quick. You know, yesterday, Queasy, he said he was very, very unlucky. I even spoke to Jerky, who won FNCS with Queasy last season, and he said, you know, yesterday it reminded me exactly of when we won FNCS. A lot of bad luck, and Queasy today is feeling really confident because if everything went wrong yesterday and they got 5th, now coming into day number 2, and, you know, something goes right for once, you know, they got zone for once, that is so, so scary. And I think we're about to get a Hen and Queasy show today.
It should be in there, my prediction, let's be real. So I'm hoping for it intense. We also see their ex-teammate Trulex, who has been consistently in the top 10 throughout the course of a couple of days. Move over to that next page. And Lex and X, typically a player who is a day 2 team, doing the complete opposite of that so far. A team who's now actually doing significantly worse in the second day, starting to drop down from, 6th, now into 11th. So they're starting to go down the leaderboards a little bit.
Yeah, and Cammy and Teague, they're in 12th place as well, as it pains me to see them struggling in this final. Not really sure what's going on with them. Maybe, just you know, just not having the as much preparation as they should.
Could even be nerves, right, Boop? Like,
Possibly.
Today is a much, way more difficult, like, in the competition, right? Yesterday, you kind of had this day to be like, okay, well, let's kind of set up for day number 2, but if you're not coming in confident, your duo is going to struggle, right?
Yeah.
And especially with things like Surge, you know, it's like if you're already struggling and you're like, wait, we don't have a Storm Surge plan, it's not gone our way, you're just not going to have a great game. So these players to focus up. Listen, have made it to the finals, okay? You're the very best of the best. Let's just keep our heads down. Let's focus up. We got this, all right? We're going into our next game here in the FNCS. This is Europe, and we've got Shy Wager. We got 11 2K. They're standing by. Let's go say hello to them.
Guys, I'd like to formally let everyone know, after this event, I will no longer be casting because pros have proved that top experience, if you put in the work, you can do well. So with that being said, I'm going to be looking for a duo. Hit me up if you think you're good enough to play in the FNCS finals. I'm down. I'm ready to grind next season. We go.
Hey, 11, let's do it. I might just join you on that journey, but we'll have to play on like a region in between EU and NA. Maybe I don't even understand how that would work, but regardless, they still have to put in the work because we still have a few more games to go. That being said, every single one of these 11 is getting kind of crazy. It's either one where the top are thriving or they're out before the game even starts.
Yeah, it's one of these games and days where honestly, you really go into every game with whole new expectations in terms of how will things play out, how do the dynamics between the different POIs work out. We've seen a lot of fights happen that we've been in POIs, maybe happening across the map in different areas as well, right? Really, really fun and exciting stuff in the FNCS finals.
Yeah, and Boop brings up that butterfly effect that happened off spawn for just a vehicle, right? That could happen from game to game as well, and then just go across your entire 2 days. So we'll see people trying to bring it back. I feel like Kepi and Melody overall as well on Shifty Shafts dictate who gets into that end game. We saw the damage Refscar scrammed. If they weren't there, 11 might have been a very game Genesis. Little decisions that just chance, yes.
Yeah, and trying to now like out and into how you actually think about your analysis is very crazy, but that's what Fortnite is, and we have much more of it right now.
Game 9, a little bit of a halfway point for the second day, and we're rocking straight towards the drop. Lucas Essen already landed. They'll be up against Clown and Grohl. Grohl's already taken a little bit of damage. They've spread apart exactly where they are, so we already see the adjustments. It might just be that glide. And I understand this might be a dope way to play the game. You know, try your best every single game and see what you can do in terms of eliminations low ground. That's Grohl's and Clown over and over again. Box. But if you can only play half the games on the day, I'm not sure if it works out really well.
Yeah, maybe they heard me and they decided, look, Levin, it's not that easy. We have to really work as well. It's not as simple as just jumping in and thinking you can be first in the leaderboard. Seti going down in the feed, Joe also going down. It's getting crazy at Sleepy. As we watch our first place team, Grohl's and Clown. This fight moving a bit slower pace than in the previous two games. Pukano trying to change that, picking up the pace a bit. And Grohl's he doesn't have materials, and all he has is the pistol with a couple of shots left.
Has to just land every single one in a double spray. He's not going to find anything from both players. I don't know, it look like Zestiny's going to jump all the way towards the top and maybe try to control things, but they should be a little bit lower on mats overall just because they're expending so much to travel around this building, trying to get that control. They are the ones farming more, though, it seems like. Clown trying to find a flank from the left side. Jump shot not going to land. Grohl's then being beside him. I think everyone's just confused. We're really looking for, what, a perspective of POV or no? Just get all the swaggy inside that truck. It'll be tough for them to land shots back if he's not actually peering out the window, but he decides to just get a new angle with this. This is so cool. There's no way they can actually rail too many shots into that truck because it takes a lot to actually make it explode. He's pushing even more forward for it and actually making so much room for Zestin to find the last chest. And then they get out? I don't know what type of dynamic call this is. This truck is moving so slow. The most awkward, and it looked cool at first, but not as cool disengaged. I like it though. What a creative way to kind of attack your POI.
Yeah, definitely a creative disengage. It's weird because when he initially just sort of hopped out of it to take some shots, I was a bit confused. I was like, bro, I'm assuming you're getting in the shot to get out. Or are you just using it to play with the angles? I'd like to think not. But they eventually do leave. And so we'll see how this game plays out in terms of Grohl's and Clown. What they have to do in terms of damage and surge moving forward deeper into the game. As we said, every small engagement, every small interaction has its implications. We might just be watching one of those. Well, Texas and Carceria team we've been following quite a bit. And I'd love to be able to say it's because of their endgame prowess, but it's because of their mid-game madness. They really have just been involved in so many of these fights mid-game, and they just haven't had a lot of them go in their favor just yet.
Who's the next target? Who's going to be rolling in? That's the question. They kind of affected Pink and Anas's game, and that affected everyone's because with them at high ground, it would have been very, very different. We'll start that fly and glide, though. Kind of taking over that Pink Anas mountain and looking for that surge before, you know, the Kings of the lobby do themselves.
Back over towards Sleepy, where Vino doesn't have Joe. And I don't think Chapix has Seti by his side, just because I did see Seti go down in the feed a bit earlier. Of course, there's always the potential for the reboot. I don't think that's just happened yet.
Vino's going for it.
Yeah, and Vino's got to be careful because he knows he can be heard. And Chapix is just sort of sitting there. Will Chapix allow him to get him? I think that would probably be a mistake in this case. He wants to keep this at a 1v1. It's probably for his best. But Vino will just keep prying away. And at a certain point, I think he might just be successful. I think he wants to stick it. No, he won't. He will back off.
This is like the weirdest turn-based battle simulator I've ever seen. You know what? On one side is Vino, almost out of like moves to use, out of stamina. Chapix at the top, just like using the same move over and over again. Complete impasse. I don't know what to make of this.
It's funny because even at like a more basic level, like we've all been in these sort of scenarios in Fortnite, right? You're trying to reboot your mate, but the guy you're fighting just won't let you, and you're like, bro, just fight me or let me reboot. Like, pick one. Don't just sit there and stop me from rebooting if you're not gonna fight me. Like, Yeah, I'm sure Vino expressing my frustration as well. PKR taking out Kiko.
Okay.
That's a fight we saw today. Marine over chonkers out of butter. So it seems like these guys wanted to get involved in the madness that is Chonker Speedway. It didn't quite work out for them, so I don't expect to see them continue to push that in latter games.
Not expecting to see Benji and Savage in another situation where they kind of lack overall control, but it's going to be against Bad Sniper and DKS, who have delayed this engagement. I think this is the smartest thing they've done, day one versus day two. Some of the things they were doing on day one is either taking the engagement instantly, in which case they were basically losing every single time, or just not taking it at all and playing split the entire game. They have changed things now, and this is the second game where I feel like I'm seeing them just side by side, waiting, getting a loot first, and then attacking Benji and Savage.
It's interesting. It looks like Benji and Savage have been the ones to push towards the south side of Tilted. Maybe they want a bit of revenge, right? It was last game that DKS and Bad Sniper took them out. It wasn't in Tilted, but just on the outside. And maybe that impulsiveness will pay off, or maybe it will be what sends them back to the lobby again, because you know there's another team sort of lurking in this general area. It's not going to be a clear 2, especially in the normal circumstances. This is far from normal circumstances, right? The pressure is on. Not many more games left to determine your fate. And T-Chips and Artskill, a duo who many of us had big hope for in these games. They've not quite been able to piece it together, landing at 7 Outpost 2. Swag and Pablo have mainly been the duo that have had success from this side of the map. But it's in this game where they have an opportunity to turn the tide. Swag is fending for himself. He's low on shields. And eventually, he'll run out of builds as well. And when he does, what will happen? Art will deliver the finish.
I feel like that's the only way you can really stop the Flames boys, right? This is one of the duos that just stay alive inside the end game as teammates. And if you have that type of quality, it happens all the way. You know, you just get to stay and have as much placement as possible. That's what's really been well for them. T-Chips actually laying a trap down. They had pre-edits on, like, I think 2 different walls there. And then Swag taking apart as an individual. And man, they're going to be frustrated off of that one. You can see the emotion right after the elimination there. It's tough because that's the only way you can really break them down. You have to try to lay this trap and take them off early.
And they've done such a great job of it beforehand, but to be honest, there's 12 games. You can't be perfect for all 12, right? And I think that will be sort of the message there. I know their coach, Mikkel, will be watching, and so maybe he'll be able to pass a message on to them to keep their cool. They've done so well up to this point, and they shouldn't allow that to derail them.
Talking about not being perfect, Rolls, Clown, same exact type of story. Yes, they're a lot of the times inside, but this analogy a little bit yesterday. It's more for the placements we see for this team. It's either top 5 or double digits way back in the way. 47th or 5th. 47th or 5th, Levin. That's been their last 4 when it comes to Grolls and Clown. And, you know, they've kind of broken that pattern, it seems like, in this game overall when I'm looking in. So far, you know, not going down at the start of the game.
Would you call it inconsistency? Because
consistent inconsistency?
That's what I was getting at, right? I don't know if I can call it inconsistency just because they consistently do that.
You want me to say it, don't you?
I do.
They're walking right now. They're basically a walking paradox for the moment, right? Mobile, moving around in ways that shouldn't be possible. Back and forth. And somehow they're in first. The actual embodiment of that statement.
When they write the sacred book of Shio Asia, I can't wait for the verse about walking paradoxes. Wow. Beautiful.
It's a close one. It's a close one. Toos, Utrick, one of the most challenging players to fight. One of the most challenging duos to cast over without messing up their names. They'll be rolling through. Just Toos though, he's gonna try to find Putrick and get him back up. Janice and Vortex. Also kind of in the best spot. I don't know how to approach this game. You've mentioned them a little bit, on, you know, how they roll in game, but it just seems like they're struggling 24/7.
I think the big thing with these guys is just being able to put themselves in better positions deeper into the games. I don't really worry about them. I think they have a very consistent early to mid game, which is what's made them one of the better teams in this lobby. Oh dear. Two's trying to get a reboot at Greasy and will be stopped in his tracks by none other than Vidil. But on Vortex and Janice, I genuinely think that these guys have gone under the radar. It's the reason why yesterday I said that they are a dark horse team. And I actually think they are one of the more complete teams in EU, right? We've seen them win on height, we've seen them win on low, and they're comfortable in both. Vortex have nothing but positive things to say about this young lad. Honestly, so talented, right? I don't know how Germany keeps producing all of these like crazy, berserk, firepower, talented. It's just crazy. They have way too many, right? Someone needs to check out what's in the war in Germany. I don't know.
Honestly, just rolling in and making sure everything's good right now. Benji and Savage are in a little bit of trouble. It's an all-in on both sides, and they are going to go down again. That's, I believe, to Coop and Fraction, who are always somehow in the business and going down, but it seems like once out of every 5 games, they affect the boards in a major way.
Yeah, right? They if they're going to go down, they're going to drag someone down with them, and this time, unfortunately, it's Benji and Savage. Cammy and Teak almost being dragged down as well themselves. They've got to be careful. These guys will probably start to rise up in the standings as they find a bit of consistency. Another example of a team where, when you're analyzing them, they never really have many negatives to say.
Not at all. And right now, Zestin's going to be in position to be low on Surge overall. 12 teams need to go down before it stops. Him and Hookah usually have everything locked down and fine off of spawn because they have 2 full eliminated bodies worth of damage, but they disengage this time, so their entire story changes. 50 below, we see Vino and Joe actually flying away. They'll get rattled on a little bit, have to sacrifice a launch pad for being in this position. That's because they've been stumbling their way through mid-game. Nothing's really been organized. They're going to lose very important ingredient for their endgame rotations. Zestin and Hookah will try to use it as well, but you know, once they hit this pad, Joe and Vino, along with the rest of the lobby, will be looking to beam them up. There's first place right now, Hennet and Queasy. Looks like they might have got a few picks. Oh, we saw Rolls and Clown fooling around. And Zestin is going to be on their walls, desperate, but that might just be a free elimination overall for Queasy if he just lands that one shot. I think they understand exactly what's going down. They have 5 seconds actually to get this shot, and they don't, and someone else picks them up.
And that...
no! That right there is going to be possibly a tough situation for Hennet and Queasy as well. I was slightly surprised in that instance and moment because I felt like Zestin might have attracted 3 different duos' attentions to Queasy and Hen's spot. I just saw a triple spray start to happen and wood walls limit, so that's why I was surprised.
Well, hopefully they won't have to worry about that as the zone starts to move and they will have to follow. There is always a potential to be held when you start to move in. And you can see Teak and Cammy looking to force one duo away just so they can use their pad. I like that, pressuring them into rotating for you as they follow in, but they've got to make sure they keep their distance. They're going to land here on the brick, which is nice. They can refarm it, get the material count up because they are struggling right now. Some would call this shambles. They need to get their mat count up if they want to have any chance of really going deep in this game.
And the tough spot about this is that it's not the Sanctuary, it's not the Joneses where they have a little bit more brick available. In terms of Clover Cavern, on all these mountains, everything is so far apart when it comes to farming. There are no bases you can really hide under. It's literally just natural mountains. Plus, some of these trees are just the big ones where if you chop them a little bit, that log falls down and it's impossible to farm without chasing after it. You can't really do that in an FNCS lobby.
You can see Ryzen and Phoenix on the right of your screen. This was a team that many people said, look, day 2 didn't have the greatest of success day 1. Are they going to start getting a bit more aggressive day 2? And considering they're dealing with Surge and they're trying to out-heal it, I think the question, or the answer, sorry, probably is no. But when will that penny drop? When will they realize that they really do have to try to take the game by the scruff of their neck if they want to start rising the standings, which they are very capable of doing as they've shown throughout the qualifiers?
I think every team's kind of in that position just for this lobby, specifically for the zone. No one really in the next safe spot. Just 2 duos who barely crept their way in, with everyone now on rotational duty. I'm not sure exactly what happened to Cammy's box there either. He's really deleted as he starts to build it. It's a big tree that falls in his way. They're already down bad on mats. Not have that extra box. That's going to hurt that duo a lot on the top side of your screen. We're going towards that cavern as well, so Tayson and Thomas will just stay inside for the moment and make sure everything looks hunky-dory before moving out. I think Cammy and Teak might have missed their window though here, Levin. Everyone was moving. They were too. That log in the way makes them slow down a bit, and now they're not safe to move. It'll cost them mats.
The problem is that there's nowhere really to refarm in the zone right now, so if they want to get themselves back in this game, they're going to have to do what they did here, right? Get an elimination of some sort, but trying to set that up will be very, very difficult. See what was going on in the zone. The reason why they were so late to rotate out of tilted Marine was the thorn in their side, and so he has inadvertently made their game very, very difficult. They won't just have to climb the covert mountain, they have to climb the mountain in the standings as well, because they still got a ways to go. Tayson gone from looking like he was in a pretty comfortable position next to Thomas to just 33 HP.
Have a little bit of friction inside this cavern right now, but it's going to be fine overall. They have everything locked down for the moment. I'm just concerned on their departure flight when they actually have to leave. How do the skies look? Because right now it just seems absolutely stormy. And speaking of which, him and Kiriachi right now, they actually picked up a few eliminations of the feed themselves. They're looking good to be, you know, face up right now inside somewhere in the circle and zone. Kaizen finds a few, and Kinzel as well is having a few eliminations. Cammy finally down to Kaizen actually, and Rushguard and Scram actually gets split from the party. They're already bad on Surge. Look at the bottom left of your screen right now. They went through a few shields, almost 2 inventory slots worth of, and they're both still getting sprayed. Scram loses his entire blue bar, trying to protect Refsguard as he heals, and now they'll invest even more materials in their spot to try to base up. But as I pay attention to that mini-map, they actually do get a little bit of luck on their side, a little bit of a chance to breathe. Meanwhile, no reason in the deal. They're getting just dropped inside their box, 76 below. They're bad on Surge, but Reason has an angle to just completely start to spray. Now he's slightly above, but he's lost his teammates, and he's stuck in the river in the depths, swimming with the fishes.
We know their plan for Surge is to get in, right? But if getting in doesn't work out, there's not many options for you to actually get out, and on that journey, the deal will be taken down. Reason now left as a solo as a result of it. And he is just barely above now, but will he be able to pull off the same level of clutch as one of his German compatriots in Janice from last game? We've seen Reason do some crazy clutches in the past in different modes and different FNCS competitions. And maybe this might be our classic Reason clutch moment, but he's got a ways to go. Scram and Refsguard have their ways to go, but they covered that distance relatively quickly with the gauntlets. And now they can set themselves up to maybe try to find a refresh of some sort.
Has to be an all-in for them. No bluffs in this situation. They can't really go toe-to-toe with a team over and over. Have no hard mats whatsoever, only wood. That means as they move, they will be very vulnerable to shots on all walls. Meanwhile, looking at the state of the game, Noah Riley active right now, taking out Wafflar. A man who likes to move around freely, somewhere towards mid and other times just jetting towards height. Looks like they might have some control. Scram, though, caught sleeping on the wall, does not actually have protection. No, it's pre-inits in the way that aren't letting him build. He goes for a few shots right back, but it's Floki and Clement that jump in the box and take him down.
Yeah, and that's the complete opposite from what they needed. Refsguard will be left to solo clutch, and we're heading to another endgame, Shio, where we got a lobby full of duos, but so many of these top duos will be forced to play as solos. And if you can say as a duo as Clown and Groves will look to do and have done so well, this could be a game where they amass so many points and just really start to gain a lead, which is something that nobody's really been able to do in the FNCS so far. And if it is the most inexperienced players, it feels like, in the lobby that are able to gain that lead, it really will be a crazy story.
That feels like all the kings are butting heads. Meanwhile, the newcomers to the castle start to fly and swing on their own terms. Clown and Gross will go a little bit more low groundy a few misedits on the right side. I'm paying attention to them right now because they're basically in first. They kind of dictate who gets to have the lead for the moment. Vortex and Caspery, though, if you pay attention to the left side of your screen, do have a little bit of control in the entire lobby. They're up high on this mountain as Booback flies by them as well. Resguard starts to swing. Clown is kind of attached to the same builds. He's inside the zone, actually making sure he is building the pathway for Grolls to follow. That being said, Bill's on the right side, barely even theirs. Grolls not ahead of him. They start to be in the same box. Shouldn't be even allowed for them to be here in this position, not taking much damage. It's a harpoon play. A nice grab at the floors of the duo above, but he's not going to find much for the moment right now. They're just going to completely break through into that tarp. This is crazy. They don't have that many mats, so they have to basically go for this big push and the refresh. One player escapes from the left side. There's one isolated towards the right. Clown now moving backwards in his builds. We'll tune in with that in just a little bit of a second. That's Huddy. He's fighting for the moment.
Yeah, they had to commit to that, right? And so moving forward in this game, the all-in play will have to come out at some point. But Casper and Vortex have just sort of waltzed their way up on high. There hasn't really been anybody contest him up until now, and Casper will do a good job of getting control. But for how much longer can they hold it? They've got the web shooters, they've got a decent amount of builds, but just below them is Queasy and Hen. We know how cerebral they are. And there, Grolls doesn't have Clown anymore. And so just as a solo, what can he do here as a zone? Continues to just push along this ravine. Can he hit one of these shots? Get something to keep him in the game. The 3 builds that he has aren't going to be worth much. And he knows that. And so the med missile come out, try to heal up, at least give himself a HP advantage, but it's not looking too good for him.
Hen and Queasy still alive. Queasy taking a lot of damage, though. Hen's going straight for the high ground by himself. Big shot on the T-chips. That'll quiet him down. Grolls, though, is still here, making the line that Hen and Queasy have to hit be that much further. 220 plus points, and they're still going for the clutch. Bat Sniper, 3rd place overall. He hits a nasty shot onto Floki. Full refresh there. Grolls is still putting pressure down on anybody that he sees. This is just crazy from him. Doesn't have a harpoon to hit those mats anymore. He's still alive with 1 HP. Finally down. 229 points is what it is there basically to hit a 4-point differential for just Hen as Queasy is gone. He does have high ground for the moment, but I see Thomas, I see Tayson. They're diving in boxes right now. As soon as they realize this is a solo on height, they can just completely switch frequencies and go for that higher spot on the lobby.
Yeah, they had all the pads in the world, but they aren't going to be on height. They are sitting down on low, but they are perfectly fine. Oh dear, Bad Sniper taken out by Hen. He's only a solo on height, but he can hack it. But for how long? Because Tayson and Thomas have taken it. It's moved up the hill, and Hen went down. The Freezy was the one to take him out, but Tayson and Thomas sitting primed and positioned to win it all. There's nothing anybody can do. They were the first to climb the hill, and they will be the kings of it.
That is what you like to see. One of the cavern zones, and it's the people that land there that control the destiny of the POI that win that game. Tayson and Thomas are on the board. They're always good for that special one.
It's taken them a while to get there, but they finally do it, and the cavern zone as well tops it off. These guys finally starting to look like their best selves, and this is when they needed to do it. We're wrapping things up very, very shortly. They need to hold on to this position, but a brilliant game from them.
The thing I like the most about Tayson and Thomas here and just the entire endgame, very top heavy in terms of who was hitting the elims, who was actually moving out and about and placed inside that top 10, that top 15, right? So when it comes towards those leaderboards, it'll be a pretty big switch. How far do the game 9 winners climb though? That is the big question. Just an amazing game overall inside the snow, inside the ice, no sand this time. So I'm wondering, is the desk freezing? Did we see some nice chill plays? Zeke, what you got for us?
Shy Wager, you know there is 0 chill when Boop and I are right. That's right. Boop, we're doing it.
Yes,
we're rising
sir.
on the
Yes,
coattails
sir.
of Thomas HD. That's right. Tayson's here with us too. We got ourselves a win, boys. We did it.
It's always good to be correct, especially when you beat Resub at the same time. Just a perfect day for me.
We'll see when the leaderboards flesh out, because they're going up against Queasy and Hen there in the last moments. I'll have you know.
Okay.
It's true. And you know, once again, we're just seeing this battle for high ground, right? No one is just like happy to let it go by. We saw it change over 3 times in that last little bit of the moving zone there, starting with Caspery and Vortexia, going over to Hen, then ending with Thomas HD and Tayson. Now, they did get these low eliminations, and this is actually something you talked about yesterday, Boop, was that even if they do find themselves a win, we're not going to see some crazy like double-digit elim. but they're still coming through. And now this means they're going to jump up from top 13 into possibly top 5.
Yeah, I mean, winning a game is good enough regardless, right? You just want to keep on buffing out those points. And there's actually an interesting statistic coming out I saw on Twitter by Kinch Analytics. Now with his victory royale, Thomas HD ties Anas for the most victory royales in a finals at 8. So, you know, those guys sort of going up there. You know, Denmark, you know, making Denmark proud, sorry. And, you know, it's pretty impressive so far from them.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting points about this is the fact that this is basically the exact same game we saw yesterday, but with Pink and Anas still in it, right? This is one of the victory royales that they had. They were on height at 5th zone. Flip that, because Pink and Anas went down early, it was the team that took their place in the drop spot. Vortexia and Castry up on high ground at that point. And it's like, you know, you see the quality of a high ground team by the way that it's executed there. Vortexia and Castry weren't able to maintain that all the way through, giving openings for guys like Thomas and Tayson to obviously pick up the victory royale. Whereas if Pink and Anas were still in that lobby, who were first going into this, you know, that could have been a completely different shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And even seeing like the top 1 team, right? Clown, they're rolling around, just managing to stay alive. I don't know how Clown and Grolls are doing this, right? Even in those situations where one of them is left alive, they are still just taking every single point they can, right? And that's like a mark of a strong duo, a consistent duo. And right now, Boop, they have eyes set on first place.
Yeah.
Right? It is these small micro advantages they're taking that could mean that they actually walk away winners.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much potential things going wrong for them. Like, who can contest them? You know, they landed on a bush in one of these games, and you know, came out with, like, they ran away with a truck. You know, they did so well here. And this is what I love about duos, is because solo clutch potential is just so easy. Or not easy, but, you know, it is just there. And, you know, if you have a good and confident player like mentality, his spirits are high, you know, anything that I just love about duos. It's so exciting that way.
Absolutely. Look, I want to see what the leaderboards look like, though, because we've seen the fact that I may have said Pink and Anas were in first. I meant first yesterday coming into it, because obviously Grolls and Cloud were in first coming into that.
Okay, I like it. Let's take a look at the standings. We'll talk through this. This is now the halfway mark. The next 3 games, we will decide the overall winner. And Queasy on though right now.
You know, you're saying, sorry. And Thomas HD, they win. It's so much better. But when you look at the leaderboards, Hen and Queasy are in first place at this moment. Let's go. I know Mum's going to be happy about that. She's predicted them.
I mean, they're close by, Thomas and Tayson. They're so close by, so don't put them out yet. You never know. You never know.
It's true, you know,
man.
Grolls and Clown doing such a good job, though. I'm with you. You know, we just hyped them up a little bit there. A scuffed game off, make the most of it. Basically, go down off spawn, as we said. They're still able to make a good game. That is something that there's barely any teams who can say that about their own gameplay.
I'm just blown away. You know, a duo coming into the first FNCS finals, this stage in the competition, and they're hanging with the very best, right? And they won't let go. That's the crazy thing as well, is like, whatever happens, they're just like, no. We're going to make sure we are as close as possible. As we flip onto the second page, here they are, Pink and Anas there with 179 points. And I mean, you know, Boop, with 3 games, anything can happen, right? We could watch any number of these duels immediately. And that had like a big factor in them in the end game. Some duels, they just do fall early, right? And then the shoot inning happens. But if it doesn't happen, man, we're going to continue to see this lead build.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you have 6 zones pulled to the west side, that gives everyone so much ammo to VOD of you exactly where you are, right? You know exactly that Pink and Anas are going to be on that hill near Covert Canyon. Covert Cavern, sorry. Let's just all avoid that draw spot because we don't want to get tagged up by them, you know? And that's a big issue for them, because now we can see everyone yesterday VOD viewed, they checked it out, they realized, hey, they're over there every single time. And you saw them this game, they were eliminated by Storm Surge. So maybe they got to change things up again because they're a little bit predictable.
100%. And one of the things that I don't think was so predictable was the fact that DKS and Bad Sniper have been dominating so far until the towers. You know, we were talking off screen there, but we've not really seen much of Kinzo and Deciptos in terms of like those end games. I'm just scrolling through the leaderboard to make sure I'm not waffling. Correct. Yeah, they're in 21st so far. Benji and Savage today, not really seen them too much either. And it seems like, you know, Benji and Savage obviously upset about getting contested the majority of their FNCSs, but the teams now who are contesting them, like DKS and Bad Sniper, are doing well in the leaderboards.
Yeah, you got to make the most of the situation, right?
I was just going to say, dude, they got bodied off spawn, right? Like, and it's just happening, right? Like, Hey, it happens, right? These are the 50-50s we talk about. Sometimes it's going to go one way and sometimes it's going to go another. But these are high caliber duos, right? If they know this is going to happen, just take a step back. Just be like, look, I don't want to fight this. Like, I want to make it to end game. Let's just take a different loot path. Let's loot our drop spot and then just bail, right? Like, we're going to see Benji and Savage come online very, very soon, right? Because they evolve over the course of a competition.
Hope so.
And I'm excited to see it. We hope so. We hope so. 57 seconds here on the time. So we're going to 2K and Shy Wager for the next game.
Thanks so much, Zeke. You know, I put attention in duos, right? Would you agree with that fact?
You know, look at try pieces together, make a lot.
Translate and then retranslate, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. We're talking to each other behind the scenes. We don't know how it's happened, right? They're not the most, in terms of flashy duo in terms of both days, but they're here and they're in first.
I think they've just consistently been able to make it deep into games, which is something that, to be fair, you can't say the same for a lot of the other top competitors in this lobby, right? A lot of them have sort of had games where they are off a bit. And even when Queasy and Hen make it to even if it's like 11th, 10th, they're able to pick up a couple eliminations along the way, and it's enough to put them into first. And we'll see if they can do that once again as we head into another game of the FNCS Finals.
All right. Double digits for the games. We're at number 10, and we have double trouble up on the board with Hen and Queasy. 235, they have a little bit of a lead, but it seems like every single time we have a battle for the top spot, it's merely just 5 or 7 points that separates those big teams.
Yeah, we're heading into Tilted Towers, which has been a point of interest over the past days. And I'd like to formally apologize to DKS and Bad Sniper, because as many other people coming into Tilted Towers, I think most people thought these guys would be the biggest losers out of this POI, right? Benji and Savage have done really well out of here so far this season. Kinzo and the Siptos have just been clean and efficient more times than not. And I think most people thought DKS and Bad Sniper, they don't necessarily always do well in FNCS finals, whether that be trios or other modes. Yeah, they've been the best duo out of Tilted, so props to them. Clown though, again we tune into this fight. This time though it's a bit quicker than last. Clown will hit the crucial pickaxe shots and just in time for the rest as well.
That's just really funny. My bad. Having a knock player just close the doors behind them. Try not to get a little bit too much faster. Funny to watch, but now Clown's actually stuck inside the room, and oh no, he actually did get the revive at the last time. Hookah, low HP on both sides. He can land 2 big shots, but barely even has any match. The more time he gives Clown and Grills, the worse it goes for him. And yeah, there's minis involved. This is going to be bad. Ammunition though, low overall, and as soon as I say that, he finds a super crate of ammo. So Clown is now back in business. They have a medkit popping as well. I was going to say for Hen and Queasy, one of the things that needs to happen is maybe Hookah, Zeston rolling in and interrupting the game of Grills and Clown, but that is not happening. They're basically getting 3 to 6 free points off spawn. They have a leg up, it seems like, on the entire competition every game because of the way this engagement is going. And if that just keeps happening, they have to grab first at some point.
Yeah. I thought Hookah for a moment had the chance to come in and do it, but he missed his window of opportunity. Clown and Gross did well. They created a bit more space. They opened up the back wall, made an extra box to work with. And from that point onwards, he knew it just wasn't a fight worth taking with both of them up. And so he will dip out and they will have a game. But we saw from both sides that when the fight didn't completely break down and one team definitively won, it led to both teams having some issues with Surge deeper down, right? Hookah and Zeston in particular ended up going down to Hen and Queasy, right? And so almost like they're feeding them in that sense where, you know, it benefits those guys instead of Growl. I call it Growl Clown, sorry. But now we tune back into Tilted where this fight is breaking out and we'll see if Bad Sniper and DKS can come out on top.
They're doing this specifically not just because they're contested, but because it's also very easy surge. I think Benji and Savage had issues with it in previous games. Bad Sniper and DKS running a gauntlet around one of the players. That's Mr. Savage inside the box going down first. You never really see that happening. Usually maybe it's Benji that oversteps in the duo, and usually they're the ones to land that first shot and get a knock, but it's not going to be possible. Now Benji on the back foot inside a car. He's going to have that license, going to have that speed. He's out of there as fast as possible. DKS not too happy about it. Neither is Bad Sniper. They're rolling in, dealing a little bit of damage. not going to be enough to really secure Benji Fishy today. He will be able to go out and maybe just play the game, come back, get the card. It's a 5-minute timer. He has a lot to. Meanwhile, Pink and Nas also making sure their game plan is alive for now.
Yeah, I'm super impressed. I ain't really got much to give in terms of, you know, what to say there. Like, I'm super impressed by DKS and Bad Sniper's ability. It really seems like that win that they got yesterday has just sort of been a huge sort of ego and confidence boost that is just sort of pushing them and dragging them through. They've done really well out of Tilted. Pink and Nas now in covert. Typically they, you know, sort of like to lurk just outside and around, maybe even on top of the mountain. But this time they were caught inside, but will quickly retreat to where they're a bit more comfortable, just outside the POI.
I think what Pink and Nas don't want is another, you know, brawl with Castry and Vortexia. They understand that they're on top of that mountain. It's one of the reads, one of the adjustments maybe a lot of the people in the area are making. Push this team. They might be slightly unconfident. They're just going for long-range beams. If we just, you know, try to get as aggressive as possible on them, it might actually work out in our favor. So Pink and Nas also adjusting. They can watch their own VODs too and find new game plans. Hen and Queasy really want to stick with these guys these game, or at least in this game specifically, to see how they handle really being in the lead now after that leaderboard change, and how they approach this game. Because right now it feels like they're running under the radar for every single team and the broadcast as well in the way they're in first place.
You can see from the info at the top there, very telling of the dynamic that we know exists, right? Queasy is the mastermind and Hen is the firepower. Nations for this duo, and rightfully so. Someone who maybe doesn't even play in the region, maybe the best solo player at the least, doesn't necessarily get those same shouts anymore, but still is on that level and will always go huge when it matters the most. For this duo, they both need to go huge. We saw last game they ran into some surge issues. They decided to do what they usually do and get in a box, try hit some shots, and the shots didn't quite land. And that was the end of their game, pretty much. But this time round, if they can go together and hit them shots, we know what it can lead to.
The combo. That's exactly what they need. Cloud and Grow is very similar for them too. I feel like they're just blessed with that free surge off of spawn. Always need a bit more from their position. It's going to be all good. When it comes to Tayson and Thomas specifically as well, I mean, you're trying to gamble on someone that can win any fight they're, you know, presented at the start of the game. Has to be Thomas and Tayson. Highest win rate in terms of off-spawn fights. That's insane, especially at a place like Covert Cavern where the drop makes it basically 50-50, right? Whoever has the better glide, but we called it during some of the quals. When it comes to that fly, Thomas HD as one of the best in the game.
Yeah, no, it's surprising. Maybe he's got a drop map from someone. I don't know. Maybe Captor helping out in that sense. Someone surely, because I don't think I would have expected him to have as good of drops for Covert as he had, especially with all the questions about whether he's been working hard enough this season or not. But nevertheless, they have had that, and it's paid significantly for them. But again, like we said yesterday, the job isn't finished, and even with a victory royale, they're still going to need to put in a bit more work if they want to catch up to Queasy and Hen and Clown and Grows.
I think this is the moment in the competition where everyone starts to formulate their plan B and really tries to fix the mistakes they've had in previous games in a very organized way. You'll notice only really one team has gone down on the map. This happened basically once before in EU, I think at the start of the competition. Makes it a very hard game, makes search that much harder overall. Try to grab onto. Kaizen and Yaisen, people who like to just go all in as fast as possible, also being very methodical inside this fight. Up against what looks like DX from Wallflower, Karma and Bubak possibly there. The third party at any moment. And that's, I like that kind of change overall. To take things a little bit slower because, you know, Game 11, Game 12, the last two of the day, that's where desperation kicks into effect, Levin. That's where you have people doing crazy things to try to get back or just try to get up in the competition.
Yeah, and it's not been too great for Kaizen and Yaisen. They were one of the last teams to qualify through to the finals, semi-final day 3. But they haven't quite been able to hit that same level of form in these games thus far. And they're running into Waffler and Diox, who sitting in 14th place, haven't actually been too bad. They've had their moments for sure.
It's been good so far. Tayson Thomas still inside, farming all things up. Talk about Kiriachi Stormer as well, just a little bit. 5th place overall. They're slightly behind. Just need one good game to roll in with. And you talk about off-spawn win ratios, just because Tayson and Thomas, I feel like, are very good at tracking who's around them at any point in the game. It could be a surprise duo coming in. They have an adaptation. It could be someone they're just fighting right off spawn. They know exactly where to go immediately to handle it and be in the best power spots.
Yeah, that elimination is nice for them in terms of the implications on Surge. And for them moving forward in this game, you can see they're always going to have really great loot, a great amount of shields, max mats, and pads. And that buff alone is just, it's so strong, honestly. There'll be so many teams in this lobby that will wish they could have that level of loot. And I know Boop will be crying inside that I'm mentioning how good their loot is.
Trying to go for that mini curse. Yes, Waffler, have you found, using your 11 navigations of the duo's souls, right? Your analyzation, have you found what they actually do? Or are they still the for fun duo?
I can't tell you what the recipe for success will be for these guys beyond just
have a car end game.
Oh yeah, have a car end game for sure is definitely one. But I think a lot of the time, right, we know from Diox going back to last year in trios that like there's always that potential to pop off in end game, right? On mid and low layers, crazy aim, very mechanical player, and so that alone always will mean that he has a good shot. But it's about that journey to being able to get deep in the game, right? Can he sort that bit out? They've had their struggles in these games in terms of getting to those points consistently. Again, another team that didn't quite qualify through, you know, with ease. Took them a while, semi-finals as well.
It's all good for them currently.
We say that, but Waffler went down in the feed, so maybe not.
Not all good for them currently. Deox did go down a little bit earlier. Lincoln default still, I feel like one of the most interesting stories of the day. I could not predict that a spot that would have 4 people contesting at some points would process and then spit out a duo that can just stay in top 10 by default and sometimes be in the top 3 as well. It's just insane. And Link is still online going for shots as default went down. Wants to make sure he makes the most out of this game. 308 above Surge, so not, you know, getting away with the worst part of the deal on the trade. Getting your duo down though, unfortunate this time. Might be able to sneak in a Greasy to maybe get that card back up, but I already see a few players walking around the entire map, picking up houses, spots, grass, trees, rocks, whatever they can find to make their base. Greasy should be baited soon and taken over. Phoenix down to Letzter in the feed as well. Zandy majorly active, and Awesome Pink are on the hunt. They realize 84 below Surge. Not the best place to be, not many amenities inside this side of living, but it's all good. Pink finds a few to maybe get less stressed now. Just one above though. Man, 91. I haven't seen this player count number in a long time at this point in the game. Third zone almost locking in, and 21 players have to go down.
Yeah, this is gonna be absolutely insane. Like, we're gonna have like 7 minutes worth of replays to even see everything that goes down. The amount of players that are about to go down. Oh boy. Pink and Nas, you better hope you aren't one. But you can see because they're below, they're gonna be forced to get into a bit of a fight here. Scram and Rescott on the right hand side of your screen as well, in a very similar position. And this is where things get messy.
Awesome Pink fallen down the board so many times. They can't afford to lose this fight at all for the moment. Really chasing down this final player, but the lower they go on this mountain, the more eyes start to pry on them all the way from above. Pink cannot land the shot. He is down. Scram takes down Belusi as well. Some of these old lobby leaders are just not finding their stride in day number 2.
And you can see Pink and Nas, they ran right into Tayson and Thomas. And those guys weren't in as much of a hurry, right? Because they were able to get that elimination early on Mirza. We talked about how that would eventually pay off well for them, and it did right there. They're able to get a couple more. Scram and Escardo, they went for a couple pre-edit plays, and things seemed to work out. They were able to get a bit of damage. Not necessarily any concrete eliminations out of that one, but the damage is enough to keep them afloat. Vortex and Janice, though, again, this is why I rate them so highly. I just never really see them in trouble. They're so good at getting their surge dealt with, and now they're going to take a bit of a controlled box fight. They're going to feel very comfortable in this situation, and against Letzter and Twilliam, who've had their fair share of struggles, this could be a defining moment in their game. This could be the game where they finally wake up. We talk about how they're constantly sleeping giants. They'll hit a couple shots here. Janice will hit some. Vortex will chip in two, and Letzter and Twilliam will be taken out. And again, they won game one. They've been a bit quiet the past couple games. Will this be the one where they start to get loud again?
They need to have 2-hit singles in a day. They keep just dropping one banger plus a mediocre album. They really need to start to level up, and this has to be that side B we all love to watch right now. Karma and Bubak, they started all of the carnage off. First elimination on that zone. Thomas, HD, and Tayson, they were the ones that took down Anas, and it looked just so good. Look at Thomas. Look at the confidence. Stride back and forth. That's what we like to see.
Brings a smile to my face. Seen him in his element there. Hope to see that for many more years to come. Clown and Grolski chilling, positioned in zone now. The vehicle was able to just get them in here. This isn't a bad position as well. They're relatively elevated, which means they have some lines of sight on some of their other teams. You can Clown taking some shots towards Teak, who isn't quite in yet. That's one of the benefits of just sitting in a high elevation, right? You have more view. DKS, the only view he has is the one of Bad Sniper, because he gets taken out, and Bad Sniper, all he can see is enemies in front of him in his pathway to zone. Deceptus and Kindle will not let him go easily. Again, another example of two teams from Tilted interacting. Nowhere near Tilted, though. These guys are bound to each other.
Literal elastic bands around the ankles of every player that lands over at Tilted Towers. And it snaps back. It hurts hard. Only one duo really ends up walking out past the mid game. This time it'll be Kilzel and Deceptos to see exactly what they can do. There is a Psycho Clown in this box right now, and everyone is scared. They do not want to be a part of this surprise party. Roll's already down, and this is exactly also what Hen and Queasy need. This duo on your screen to get erased before that fifth zone comes in. 43 seconds, Clown has to survive. Guaranteed he'll find possibly a little more placement the longer he stays alive in all these boxes. But once again, 800 mats. He's gonna have to just expend all of them to stay away from the hunt of the duo above.
Yeah, and I'm surprised at how they're even in this kind of a position, right? They had nearly max materials, it seemed. And so even if they were, you know, in a bit of a pickle, I'd expect them to sort of commit their mats to guarantee their safety as a duo to stay alive. But Groves will go down. Clown now as a solo, and even if he isn't initially taken out, for him to solo clutch will be very difficult, but he has to, right? The longer he stays in the game, the better it is for his chances in the FNCS, because if he goes down early, it just allows Queasy and Hen to start to build up even more of a lead, tarnishing all the hard work they put in so far.
Absolutely tarnished, and right now Clown is just maidenless for the moment. Only just has a car, no duo to be by his side. 110 above surge, but I would imagine the entire map is like this. Random builds all around, boxes built up because it was a 30-person surge. So many duos split apart, but look at Clown, Honey down. This is nuts. No duo should be allowed to just have a free elim like that. He has the track. Ing just online 24/7, and that just looks so good from him. He's gonna go straight towards Swifty as well. Look at the coolness of that slide. He gets the shield down. This man is in a 1v2, and he's making it look easy.
What a brilliant understanding of angles, right? He's one of the players who is struggling to make his way into zone. There's a bunch of teams holding him in, but he puts himself in between Swifty and the players in the zone, and that allows him to just get some shots off. They're more worried about the teams holding them in from in front, and so he was able to just sneak in slightly behind. But that's all good and well, because even if he does deal with Swifty, he still has to deal with the players in zone holding him, and that's a much more difficult task. He barely is able to get in, but that next rotation is going to be even more difficult, Shayo. The medkit coming off is all good and well, but this is just going to be such a mountain to climb. Is he going to be burned as well? Oh my goodness, he can't catch a break right now.
The grass is going to be converted into suit right below him. It's all good. I'm looking at who else is alive and what trades are going down between all sides. You have to understand, with that 30-person surge, once it ends, the effect of it doesn't. You might have one duo down. You might have a position you didn't want to be in because you had to push a team and now you don't know what to do with it. So many people are caught in random crossroads. I think Joe and Vino were one of them. They're still having trades. Liza and Mirza were the ones to try to take them head on. I think they went down and Joe has to go for a reboot, or at least a revive. And Queasy are on something that shouldn't be built or allowed in this zone. And Queasy is hitting shots that Hen should be hitting right now. Both these teammates are just in sync at the moment in one of the best spots in the game. Look at all the damage they're dealing too, just controlling the lobby. No one even near this amalgamation of a build. Thomas HD Tayson, very different from their sides though. Third place.
Yeah, this has to be a really good game for Queasy and Hen. They're positioned so well up above. And it just means you have so many options. No matter where the 6th zone will pull towards, they'll be able to get there with a relatively clear pathway, or at least the vision of where that clean pathway is. Tayson and Thomas maybe not necessarily having those same level of options, but they have the launch pads, which obviously will give massive benefit as they move forward in this game. But it's all about the next 10 seconds where that zone pulls. You can see the launch pad being dropped now as well to Tayson. Thomas trusts him completely with the sole direction of where they go. But Cammy has nobody to trust. He has to just trust his own instincts. Gets the wall, couple shots, PKR and Mappy backs against it. And this is actually a great opportunity for Cammy to maybe pick up some elimination. He hasn't got shield, so the siphon will go a long way. But he's got to be careful that he doesn't overextend, and that's nice. The mini. 25 HP, it will help. Doesn't get the elimination on Mappy. Ooh, if only
He
was
didn't have a
loaded.
bullet!
Wow.
Oh. So close. That would have been huge for him too. Being able to navigate on that right side, maybe even take over that tarp Cammy. A game of inches. And right now for the entire server, that's basically what it is. Trying to come back after the disastrous surge we had at the start of this. Cammy obviously just left by himself. A bunch of other people maybe left with less mats, left with less ammo. For one team, the story is different. Second place is basically down. For Hen and Queasy, all they have to do is try to push this lead as far as possible. They're starting high ground on the 5th zone, and they're looking to keep it for the moment. Frack is going to be denied a chance at being a little bit of a retake warrior or a nuisance to everyone. He's going to be chilling. I thought Thomas was going to land on that tarp, but he's not either. He pushes all the way towards the front. Who can stop Hen and Queasy inside this game?
They've done such a great job of diverting all the teams who padded, all the teams who maybe would have looked to hide. You look at all them names, so many of them you would usually think would look to try take it, but none of them could. Queasy and Hen hit the crucial shots to just divert them away. Cammy though, in the back of the zone in the top right, almost giving up there, just standing still.
This is going to be so dangerous though. Janice, Reason, Hutrick, Toos, and Thomas HD are all the players on second height. Reason and Vidil are not letting them down, and I see Aqua too in the mix. Every top team that loves the high ground is getting in position to take it away from Hen and Queasy. You look at the front side of the zone as well. Trulex and Chico are watching for a wave. Janice now is moving up for it. Vortex on the other side is also trying to climb towards the top. Thomas HD and Tayson will move here, but I'm wondering exactly what's happening at height. They might be those third takers that move forward. Here we go. Janice and Vortex do take it for now. Hen and Queasy maybe overindulged in the mats it takes to hold that position, and they have to give it up.
The sleeping giants have arisen. They have high ground, but will they be able to hold it? We know that they have that ability. Still so many titans below them, and so they need to make sure they prioritize who it is that they are spraying, who it is that they apply the pressure to, and that's a perfect start from Vortex. Chico and Trulex shut down.
Reason joins the battle. He's moving forward. Vino also down. Trulex goes away to 2. Stress Guard and Scram. They're going to make sure mid-ground is theirs, but it's Karma and Bubak, 2 statues who won't move. We're going to be in the way, so Stress Guard actually goes towards a completely different art gallery. The left side is going to be a lot more about nature, a lot more about builds that are not placed down just yet. Hen and Queen lost inside. Second high ground for now. Second height completely. Toos is still finding a bit more in the feed. Bubak stops Kinzel inside the mid-ground. Meanwhile, you're actually Stormright also active. This is 5th place that is still in the game and can look to catch up.
And they've done such a great job, right? While all the chaos was going on above, they've really been one of the few teams to actually have some control on low ground. And so now, whilst the Shambles teams look to drop down, they will hold it and they will have opportunities for more limbs.
Loss of control on height. Meanwhile, Thomas HD goes for the chase towards mid. Their box though has been overtaken, so he is going to be having to vacate from home. Doesn't matter. Rid of all the guests. Thomas is insane with the damage. He lands 6 different shots and they all hit hard. The beam is there to follow as well. No ammunition. It doesn't matter. Thomas HD with the moves. Vidil and Reason down. Janus gone as well. He's taken out single big name and he goes down, but that's 8 fat eliminations under his belt in the feed.
How does Thomas continue to do so many things that just blow my mind? And he has a teammate that can do the same. Tayson will connect with Malibuka. He gets the elimination. That's the HP he needs and the time as well. The separation to get the minis off. These two have no limits, no bound. They will continue to impress and they sit in first place.
They looked at the leaderboard and they wanted every single elimination inside that top 10. 4 teams now left and Tayson is a part of the mix. You have to be careful. Give him an inch. He'll take a victory royale. Moving in low HP, has a chance to pop a mini. It looks good. Reason's the one who's all the way up top by himself as well. It'll be a solo brawl and he drops first. Reason's there with the beam. Tayson denied access to the endgame, denied access to the clutch. Reason might take the entire power of him though and be able to use that clutch factor for his own. They've gotten 1 win so far today. Can they do it again? Gabix is down here as well. You're actually storming right towards the low ground. All Reason wants is these 2 teams to fight and then maybe drop down in the heat of the night, maybe take away that VR for free.
Yeah, Kiriachi and Stormy, they need to stay composed. They've done brilliantly to keep control on low ground. It's been a tough battle. And even with all the chances they've had, they still run out of mats. And no, Gabix will get down. Shmeki also will be gone. And Reason now has a chance to sneak his way in. But will Kiriachi and Stormy right be on point? Reason dropping down. We've seen him clutch before, but can he do this 2v1? Is it too much of a mountain for him to climb? He connects with another shot there. Reason needs to be careful. He's the only one in the zone, but the time is ticking.
He has a little bit of a delay, lots of space to work with, and a few more mats. Kiriachi down to the zone, 1v1 for Reason right now. Stormy right down to the low ground. He has a lot of control of all those low builds, but Reason has a lot of say in this fight. 1 tree farmed as well. Stormy right with the med mist. They'll be looking good for now, but it's going down to the road. No more nature to be able to work with. Reason drops down onto the concrete, looking for the first shot, but it's denied from builds from Stormy right. It's a 1v1. He's backside in the zone, maybe looking for a chance to take over at height, a different angle. Reason sees it coming, builds here, and now Stormy right has the high ground. It's flipped on sides. He has no builds to work with, and that costs a lot of his HP. Reason with the final shot. Is this real? Not just yet. The spray is there, and it's good. Reason and Vidil, 2 wins. Kneel to this duo.
How does he continue to do it? No matter the mode, no matter the season, no matter the FNCS, Reason will clutch up as a solo. He does it time and time again. He never disappoints, and they deliver on another victory. Reason and Vidil are on one right now.
It's just crazy, and they're the ones to take down Tayson and Thomas, who stole away so many points from that endgame as well. Remember how this all started, 2-11, right? Head and Queasy were the ones in first, up top on the high ground. Thomas HD ate everyone, and then Reason makes a clutch happen against 2 duos. It should not be allowed, but that's what happens when we reach game 10. That's what happens inside the finals.
Yeah, we talked about how these guys, when they don't have to deal with Surge, great things can happen. They were able to get through the early and mid game, and when given a chance in the end game, like you said, give them an inch, they can take a victory royale, and that's exactly what they did. Desk, oh my goodness, this is starting to get intense. Please, I need a moment. Break it all down for us, boys.
Levin, do you think that I'm not panicking? Do you think that I'm not freaking out right now? Okay, I'm in the back. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. What day is it? What time is it? Where are we? Is this EU? Is this NA East? Is this NA West? I don't even know where we're at anymore. My goodness, I cannot believe the day 2 team of Reason and Vidil. They have come online, Boop. They have taken every experience that has led them here to finals. They have manifested wings, and now beneath those wings rises the current that helps them rise up the standings, baby.
There we are. I think he's managed to disappear.
Scared.
He's so
it was so good
by what we've just seen. He's gone. But in all honesty, the best pop off when it matters. I feel like in that game we saw every single stereotype you could think about EU. We saw a Thomas HD incredible pop off, a Tayson being the best player, Kiriachi and Stormy right deep in the end game, and an incredible victory royale, of course, from Reason. Looking at the leaderboards right here, that's actually pushed Reason Vidil up into 10th right now, so 199 points for them at this point. Julius and Chico still staying there. Look at the top 3, top 4, top 5. We've got 2 more games remaining and these are the kind of teams who are consistently getting to every single end game in day number 2.
Sorry about the guys. That game had me petrified. Oh my goodness. I was spelled. I was locked up.
Yeah.
I was terrified. I don't know what I just say about Reason. I was going to say Reason is one of those players you can just always rely on to clutch. My man has that gene inside of him. He is ridiculous. And, you know, they're coming back, you know, finally. And West Side zone now, so Video can't even complain about the zones because they did win on that left side as well.
Man, just look at this though. Like, I know the big victory came out from Reason, but Thomas HD alongside Tyson are the highlight players. When we saw Thomas HD go down into the back of the zone this moment right here, just the eliminated bar just wouldn't even leave. It just kept popping up. Knocked, eliminated, knocked, eliminated. This is why you get a guy like this on your team. Someone who has the best aim in the region, if not the best aim in the world. He doesn't need builds because he gets 5 eliminations just hitting every shot.
How do it, and that was the
Disgusting.
most eliminations we've seen in a final in EU at 11. I think before that prior it was Kirashi and Stormlight who had 10 in the Victory Royale yesterday. So I mean, just by himself, Thomas with 8 eliminations, like, who can stop this guy?
Well, we'll see. We'll see when it comes to the next 2 games at the same time. But similarly with Tayson, right? We've seen a huge clutch from him. At the same time with Thomas HD popping off. This is what top level FNCS championship teams are made up of. FNCS champion quality players from solos, from duos, from trios. It does not matter what it is. These are the plays that win you tournaments.
And I just got to jump in, Boop, because now you know what's happening.
Yep.
It's me and you versus Reese, Levin, and Shy Wager. Right now, who would have thought that we could have scripted it? I mean, guessed it. No, this is a complete fluke. I cannot believe this is happening. But Reese, you're right. 2 games left, right? And anything can still happen. Anything can still go wrong for any number of duos. But I love how they're capable of just saying, whatever's going to go wrong, no. We're going to minimize that as much as possible, man, because we're going to make it to that end game, and then you're going to have to deal with us.
I think one of the important things to note here is like a 9 elimination victory out. Well, I'll just say 10 just to make math easy. 62 points, right? So for any team who's still in 10th place, like, there's a huge potential for them still to win if those top teams go down early and they can capitalize on that.
I'm so stressed. We only have 2 games left to go. For everyone watching in Legends Landing, you guys got to use your favorite emotes. If you've not checked out Legends Landing, swing by, drop bold. But right now, we're about to drop into this next game. My little heart can't take it. Shy Wager 11, please help.
Hey, so someone help us first, right? This is a 2-way tie, first place, 265 points, with 2 teams with very different agendas, Levin, different ways they play the game entirely.
I don't know why Zeke's trying to act like it isn't rigged, right? All the zones going towards Covert as well. Something's going on here. Now, look, on a serious note, right, this is really starting to get hot, right? In terms of just some of the things lower down in the leaderboard, even how these things are developing, right? Benji and Savage fans, I know they're probably getting a bit quiet now. It hasn't been quite the best day for these guys, but when you look up above on that leaderboard, the battle for first place, this is what we've wanted. Finally.
Might not have it this game. EU has a little bit of a consistency, broken pattern, so to speak. Every second last game, the top 7, the top 10 disappear. It becomes a game for everyone else to catch up. It's happened almost every single FNCS. For this penultimate game, what will be the result? Find out right now.
Game 11, where everything really starts to set up for that final game. Stakes are being set. Players' dreams are being made. There's some players' dreams who are being crushed. Grows, Clown, they've done so well up to this point. In the past couple games, these battles off spawn just haven't been so clean. But will they turn that around now against Zeston and Hookah? Clown above has a shotgun to his name, but not much HP to work with. The medkit will come out. His teammate will drop him a mini. And Hookah and Zeston will cower behind this wall as Groves looks to get on the aggressive.
Groves has to basically be that fence that separates any type of aggression from their opponent's share of this POI. The moment he stops applying pressure and slows down, the moment he doesn't punish any type of peak or shots, that's where power kind of shifts over towards Hookah and Zeston. They're going to be higher on shields overall, a little bit more mass to deal with being inside the entire base for the moment. Clown and Groves will have to actually be a little bit more split apart while they loot up. Could be an opportunity for Hookah and Zestin to peek out and land a shot, but you see what Clown is doing, actually making a literal offense, just having a perimeter to be able to be active so these guys don't have a free way out of this POI. They're peeking up and in as well. Hookah finally going up for one of the shots. Huge ramifications if Grols does go down. They have one of the first shield cracks. Zestin's also still on the wall. Okay, Grols clapping right back. It's not enough. He goes down. Unfortunately, all left up to Clown. He has a little bit of a beam, but Zestin actually ends up surviving. This is going to be tough. Is it a 1v1? Yes, it is. Zestin has to go for a little bit of a shot. Clown now full HP, has a few mats to deal with as well. Going straight towards the skies with this one. A little bit of a cone slide coming in, so no access to a little bit of the elevation from that side. Clown has a little bit of an opening. Yes, he follows it. I like the fact that he chases that cone that he placed up top, and now he knows there's no bills on the side of Zestin. Nice jump up and good breakdown. For some reason, these guys are surviving so far, Levin. Being contested, they're up on the boards, but it's Eddie and Chapix who are collapsing in on this fight now.
Yeah, and I was going to say, this has huge implications if they're able to stay in this one. That's going to be the setup that they sort of need to propel them in this game. But with Seti and Chapix rolling up, he's got to get out of there and quickly, and Clown will do just that. Seti and Chapix missed the window of opportunity, but they will actually connect with the vehicle. They blow that up, and with not many builds, Clown is fortunate that he is right around the corner from a little mini forest here where you can get some wood up, but I don't know if they're going to give up on him now. It doesn't seem like they will. Swifty coming through. Oh, wow. Yeah, catches him right out. That's not the kind of bush you can hide in, my friend.
Not going to be possible. Swifty picks it up. These games are getting a lot faster now off the drop, and it's Bad Sniper who's actually down first. So the classic day one style of moves are coming in from Savage and Benji Fishu. Wins this though. Okay, DKS. You picked that one up. Pick up Bad Sniper as well. Somehow, Benji, for the first engagement, the first Elim, is not going to have enough of a say to actually get his duo out of the way from Tilton. And Benji and Savage are down.
I'll be real, Shy. I think they've lost it. I think they've lost their head in that sense where they just... It's the way they're pushing these fights even, right? They're just so split up in that sense where they're just allowing DKS and Bad Sniper to take these isolated one-on-ones. It's not great at all. They were doing so well yesterday, but it's just not looking too great now. Look, still life-changing money on the line and plenty to play for. And so hopefully Benji and Savage can get back into the right sort of mental state to continue. But they need to realize now that as much as they may have had success pushing that fight in previous sessions and days, you don't want to mess with DKS and Bad Sniper anymore. They own Tilted right now.
Gunther rolling in with, I guess this is Melody actually the entire time. Cat feet. Not going to be here with Dan. I mean, this is the fight we saw break out multiple times earlier on in day number one. Maybe at the start of everything, but unfortunately neither team really finding too much success from these early game fights.
You talked about how that Shifty fight was so influential and sort of how things were playing out. Not necessarily because the players necessarily at them were the ones dominating the leaderboards, but just the dynamics around that general area of the map and the players coming through, rotating around, their ability to third party and get some tags and just capitalize off of it. But this is a team that's been able to capitalize finally off of the advantage that they've had coming out of Covert. They've had a lot of zones as well in their favor, which will always help. But finally starting to deliver. Thomas looking like the best player in the world in that last end game.
Yeah, you talk about zones coming to their favor and happening again and again. It seems like in this game, that is the case as well. If you have a chance to see a total zone, that would be great, but I feel like it is above that cavern. I see every single POV pushing towards the left side of the map. Could be good for a Pink and Os comeback as well to figure out what's going on wrong in day number 2 overall. For Jackson and Vico, we saw a little bit of them so far in the first game. We did have one Sanctuary zone, I think, overall, where they had a little bit of control, but lost it quickly. We'll grab a little bit of loot here and there, upgrade up. Looks very nice. One of those mid-game fights we see. I don't think either one of these duos has been too influential other than, like, you know, maybe some of the Surge fights we've seen so far.
Yeah, and in terms of this fight, I definitely think Vico and Jackson have a clear advantage. Of course, they have the elevation on their side, but they are really aware of teams potentially in this general area. That's great. Potentially stops them from getting third party by Schmecky. And they have so much ammo that they can really just sort of pick away at the materials of Kiko and Mosh. Stompy and Judo, just outside of Bugle, against Kaizen and Niaizen. And are they just sort of camping it to try to see if they can wait for these guys to come in? I've not seen one of these plays in a while, Shayo. But it looks like Niaizen maybe isn't going to come inside now. Will he? Oh, I can't watch this, man. I'm looking away. I can't. If they walk in and get taken out, okay, good. Good, they get out. They get out.
They're right beside each other on the boards as well, so that is an influential fight for them specific, right? 36th, 37th overall. If you talk about prizing, they want to get up a little bit to that top 30 echelon. They get a bump, $1,000 at least per duo. Everyone's trying to hit that top 10 though. That's where you see one of the biggest ones. Everyone outside the top 20 is trying to get into that cash as well. For Lincoln Default, they want to stay in that top 10. 11th place overall right now, and they are having trouble. This is not the duo they were expecting to face off against. Andalex, X-Squeeze moving in and really backing them up against the wall. This is like looking like the edge of the earth type beat right now. I don't know how they're fighting so far down here. Usually Default and Link are so much further in their game state to be away from Chonkers by this point, but this is unfortunate. Default has a little bit of an angle, but it's a total bait from the side of Andalex and Squeeze. They just turn around and beam him down as well. This will wrap up very soon. That could have been a shot that changes the course of the entire fight. We see Letchi and Swilliam rocking as well, so it's all in here, 11. All of Chonkers is going crazy.
Yeah, Default and Link totally off it there, right? Link was such low HP, and you can see because of his HP and the storm ticking down, he wanted to force the issue, get in, but Default had a shield kick, right? You could have just placed it down, slow down the pace, but instead, he rushed it. Then Default misses a key shot, and now look, he's stuck in between two duos with time ticking down. Can't even get the maximum benefit from the shield keg. And so there literally is a timer on how long he can stay in this game. 5, 3, 2, he's gone.
0.
Oh dear. Misplay, and look, as we are in the penultimate game, things are getting really intense, and you'll start to see these tiny errors and mistakes be made, but they really do cost you. They squeeze though, and Anderlecht in a fight against Lecce and Swilliam. I'm sure they won't mind taking this fight against these two, but they got to be clinical, they got to execute it well. I believe they have the HP advantage, but okay, now I think Lecce and Swilliam have some chug splashes of their own. There's so many in the south side of the map, like an absurd amount, so not surprised that both teams are carrying those, and it just means that they have a bit extra time to stay in the zone. Lecce and Swilliam though will leave, rightfully so. They've had their fair share of mid-game fights that haven't gone their way, and so Anderlecht and Squeeze will be able to move on.
What I'm sensing from this game compared to the one right before, frustration, pain, sadness for a bunch of teams. It all amounts to them not being as strategical. Remember, we saw 97 people alive at this point. Everyone was ready with the game plan. And for a majority of teams near the bottom of the board, it seemed like they got a little bit boosted all the way towards the top, right? They had some nice games. They were dealing with Surge in creative ways. But this time, you throw that all into the trash bin. Everyone is back to just being aggressive, going for these storm fights. And that might be good for certain teams that don't do well with maximum pressure. Stormy Red Kuriachi, yeah, they're adaptive, they're dynamic. Throw two teams into the mix of them though, that's where they start to struggle. Very good on 2-on-2s, but with that third party, it's always looking like they're down bad a little bit. Pink and Nas as well, lost in the sauce in day number 2. Back here with a vengeance, looking to take on Mustache and Malabuka, it looks like.
I think the big from these guys is that it does only take one game for them to really get back into the mix, but they've had a rough couple. They obviously went down to Thomas and Tayson last game, and up against Malabuka and Mustache, that's not necessarily the easiest of matchups either.
Wait, you're saying they went down to Thomas Tayson last game? I think Thomas also took down My Pet Dog, basically everyone that I know as well. He got like every single elimination available on the planet. This man was just shooting everything. You can honestly, the next duel on the screen, I guarantee, possibly, Thomas HD might have taken them down as well.
You wouldn't be wrong. Really, he went on a whole nother level. When you got Tayson tweeting that Thomas HD is the best player in the world, then you really know the kind of player you have on your hands. Bigging up his teammate after a huge last game.
It's not only that, right? Imagine you have to deal with a player that did what Thomas HD did, right? And you finally take him down. You get to breathe, and like the boss music gets faster, and Tayson shows up, right? You have to deal with Tayson as a phase 2, as a part 2. That is just, should that be allowed? Like, we gotta split this duo up or something, man. That's too much.
That's why in theory, man, this duo, it just seems silly, right? In terms of just, you genuinely have two players who at any given moment, over the past 2 years, you could argue is the best player in the world. And it's like, oh, okay, I've taken him down. Finally, it took me like everything I have and everything I ever will have for the past, 5 years. And then boom, Tayson just walks through. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But again, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. They are still in a neck-and-neck battle against two top dogs. And Nasto, if he goes down here, maybe these guys will be completely out of the battle, because at a certain point, you can't afford to just have too many bad games. They will get the elimination, though, and it keeps them in this one. But hopefully they can get themselves sorry out of the little slump they've been on the past couple games.
Pink and Os were basically superheroes, and they had a weakness, right? It would be Vortexia Castry. Ever since that one game where they impeded the way they played on the mountain, they have clashed again and again, and it just seems like the control Pink and Os had over the finals for Europe is just gone, vanished. A little bit of a spark and steam, and it's no longer available. Castry finally going down too, so yes, they take them down, but as Boop, Reese, and Zeke mentioned on the desk, it impedes their game. That butterfly effect comes in. They might not have a vehicle to use. They might not be in the same spot they're used to. They were fans of method in that first day. They were really looking forward to just playing their game plan out every game with slight alterations. This one early to mid-game 111, it is really affecting.
Look at the contrast on your screens, right? Just a moment ago, right, we had the two POVs. On the left was Thomas and Tayson, who we see here below on Surge. And right in front of them, Queasy and Hen was the other team on the screen. These guys are above, and so they're running into their biggest rivals. This is huge in the context of FNCS. Tayson is down, and Thomas has done insane things as a solo. But Queasy and Hen, the top team that they're battling against, may be the one to take them out of this one completely, and that is massive. Thomas and Tayson go down early, and Queasy and Hen will be licking their lips. They will be smiling cheek to cheek, because a good game here could be the difference between them having the Axe of Champions or not.
This is where nerves come into play. They know exactly what they just did, and they don't usually end up with this type of mid-game fights in the third-ish zone. A lot of the Elams I've been watching in the feed have been that 4th to 5th rotation, where they pick apart a lot of teams from Storm, right? But right now, first place tied coming into this game, and they themselves become the tiebreakers.
Mind absolutely blown right now.
Your eyes are out of your head. I'm seeing this on the camera.
This is crazy, man. I can't. I don't know what's going on, man. They just always make it so funny.
Oh, no.
What's going on? Hands down?
I'm telling you, 5th game or 2nd last game Europe, this happens every time. Joe and Vino chasing this down. They're so bad on Surge right now, and they're knocking on the walls. Vino has to take this, but finally, Hen does break out a little bit. I'm not sure if Vino knows there's one on the left side or if he tried to escape. Yes, he did. They're just fully pushed into this. Surge is not really active right now, too, so time's not going to be on their side. Queasy's down again. Vino is going to get sprayed. Can he find the finish? That will be the worst thing possible. Queasy, 5 seconds left. He is gone and down. Vino still alive. Joe in the business. Both first-place teams who were tied are gone. Almost splintered. Hen, 40 HP with 3 big pots. All his mats being expended. This is basically a sign, a white flag being raised in the air. I basically surrender. There's no way I'm going to be out of this one. 11, how is this possible?
How many favors is Vino going to do Tayson? First, he leaves Covert Cavern, right? Allows them to have it on com. Now he's taking out Queasy and Hen. Oh my goodness, Vino. It is crazy how things are playing out. So you warned me right before the game. You warned all of us. This is the kind of thing that happens in these second to last games in the EU every single time. And it doesn't fail to disappoint. But the question will be, does Hen really have a chance in this game? Because if he can just stay up as a solo, maybe that will nullify the effect, but it's going to be tough.
He alled in his mats, I feel like from a sign of frustration. I think he realized what's really going down. That being said, making just one box it would have gotten sprayed as well. So using all those mats first off could be good. You want to know the reason I predicted Hen and Queasy though, Levin? I know you and Reese are rolling in. It was very statistical. For me, it was more so nostalgic, right? I'm thinking about watching duos way back in the day. The one man who would clutch, the duo that would look the most different. Anyone that had Hen on it. This man was the wonder child, right? I completely remember this narrative being spit by many analysts in the past. You know, that was just the wave. So I feel like if there is a solo clutch possible from the 6th zone, it's Hen. From the 4th, I'm not even sure if you give this man invincibility that it might be a chance, right? With the way this lobby's set up. This is gonna be tough.
No hard mats left either. Only wood in the inventory. Plenty of ammo, but not plenty of targets to pound it with. It's just gonna really be tough, man. At some point, someone's gonna spot him out. He knows there's a pad over there that he can use to get into zone a bit easier, but how easy? He's not actually gonna take it. The meat, no, fair play. He needs it, right? The meat will work wonders for him at this stage. Oh boy.
Whiplash, I'm trying to think how Hen's thinking right now. What can I actually do? And this thing is at 132 HP. He does find one of the pads. Remember, he's a solo, and look at that. All of EU under your feet. You're in first place as a solo, and the glide works behind the team. Solo Hen versus 2. He gets some damage down. He needs it. 126 above now, but that number is going to start to teeter and fall. 280. The new damage starts to clock in. This is dangerous for Hen. Remember, these guys are in a section of their own when it comes to Hen, Queasy, Thomas Tayson. 30 points ahead almost 40 to the rest of EU. They want to keep that gap active as much as possible. Obviously, Thomas and Tayson can't do that now, but as far as Hen, he is still in this game.
And as long as he stays in, that itself will be a positive. If they can just find any bit of separation going into that last game, it could be the difference. But Surge will come in, and that will mean that teams will start to get hungry, start sniffing out any solos that may be able to be capitalized on, and Hen's got to be careful.
Look at this position. Backside of the storm. 6 different duels around you. One knocking towards your base, but you get dropped down. It's Melody finding another angle, but Hen shot him maybe 2 times now for the backside. There's another duo, and Hen is down.
He goes down in first place, but as we know, that's really rough. Both first and second place going down, and so now really is an opportunity maybe for Kiriachi and Stormy Right to get involved in the mix. Can Kiriachi stay alive? He can. Stormy Right making enough space. These guys were incredibly clinical on the low ground last game, but with just 14 HP, swinging his way through. If anybody even gives him a tap on the shoulder, he'll go down, and he stops to use some shields wisely.
I'm thinking about names that end up thriving in situations like this, where the very, very top side of the board go down. 2 of them on your screen right now, Toos and Putrick. I feel like Thomas has stopped them twice in terms of trying to go for a retake. It was Queasy that actually beamed down Putrick so hard when he was trying to go for a glide. They will not be here this game.
And Kiriachi went down, and so that means Stormy Right has to clutch up as a solo. You can see here, he's got some mats, he's got the web shooters, but this is going to be a tough, tough game if he wants to try push his team into contention to win it all.
Usually they're alive as a duo, but he will be in that solo spot. Reversal as well on the other side, right? Joe and Vino, both alive. Right above him, usually they have a solo situation to deal with. I'm thinking about one more duo as well on the side of Putrick and Toos. Janice Vortex, also alive for the moment. They're very good, Levin, at stealing these games, being in the best positions. And I'm feeling like this is a day 1 overall with an Austin Pink on high ground in terms of how the style looks for the game. They might even come back in this competition.
Yeah, and Pink and Nas, right? They've really struggled in games this season to gain high amounts of eliminations when they do win games. But sitting there just outside the top 10, this would be the time to change that.
Janice Vortex want to hit this pad, a little bit of damage done, a lot of damage done on both players. And look at the loadouts. There's no way for them to really get it back. Look at the threshold as well, 99 below. This is absolutely atrocious for Janice and Vortex. I'm not even sure if Vortex can catch up to the spot that they're at right now, but Chulix and Chico are the ones going for high ground. Queasy will not be able to stop them for the moment. Stormy Right doing his best to try to stay inside this game. As much damage as possible to people in the storm. Possibility of the actual damage from the outside of the circle to help him claim any of these eliminations. Not going to be possible. It is True Lex and Chico that claim that high ground. Clement and Floki going to be there towards mid. Pablo and Swag alive as well. So all the offbeat people are there. And Stormy Heights does not actually trip. It's just a super swing. He's fine.
He scared me for a moment. If he had gone down, that would have been heartbreaking, but he doesn't have the web shooters left. Gonna do well to farm some bricks, some nice map awareness. But how far is that gonna get him? Because he has to climb a mountain, not just metaphorically, but literally.
I see no single-digit place team alive right now. Trulix and Chico just took a place up there in the top 10. They're going to be 9th. Pink, though, and Anas, they still have voices to use. They've been quiet so far, but they're screaming the high ground is ours after that retake. 4 eliminations to pump in this position as well. 7th zone, they're starting things off early and hot.
They've done well, right? They've not lost focus of what the goal and the task ahead is. They had a bit of a slump, but they are sitting on height where they are comfortable. But like I said earlier, they need to try and get some eliminations to pair with it. Stormy right now, high on a layer, but he's in the backside of the zone with a duo knocking on his door, but he has no answers for them. He just has to drop down and get out of dodge.
He's in low ground, and that's Vino and Joe's lair. Floki also drops down at the same moment, and Janice is there too to lock one down. And Awesome Pink, though, still on high ground, and everyone switched to wood builds. That puts a big smile on Anas' face. This is where he just starts to beam down every team. Gonna be Fury, the first one that they focus on as well. Pablo and Swag, 3 elims of their own, all in endgame. We're down to the final 9 teams for the circle, and Pablo, oh no, wrong box, my friend. The left side is dangerous, the right side is impossible to move. Swag has nowhere to go. Let's just go up and around. Somehow it's free and allowed. How is this possible? In the backside are 2 different players, but he gets beamed apart. That's Trulix and Chico looking good. Meanwhile, Vino Joe still on low. Trulix now basing up. Looks like he's going to challenge maybe high ground. They actually look back towards the storm. This is very interesting for them. Looking for any chances for damage, but no, it doesn't land. Lucia now also going down. Pink has a voice. It's still screaming loud. Floki takes out Joe. Vino down 2. Him and Clement are not going to be alive. No, they are both as a duo beside another one going head to head, and Chico and Trulix have no mats.
Chico and Trulix, they have to drop down off of height, and they drop on low, and they're trying to find control. They pick up an elimination on the backside, but that isn't the only threat left, and Trulix can't hack it. Chico now has to stay alive with no materials, and they know it. They will wipe him out. Floki and Clement have done so well, but the job is not done. Pink and Anas know what they need to do. They need to start picking up some eliminations. Nako trying to be the thorn in the backside. Clement is down, and so Floki just left as a solo, and this is really picking up for Pink and Anas here.
They can basically dance on this high ground. All they need to do is break down 2 different solo players. Look at the control from Anas. Look at the confidence from this team on heights. Momentary reprieve for Floki, but it won't last fast enough. He goes for the swing around the world, but this man's flight's not going to touch down in the best way. The landing gear is not active. The plane might be in the sky, but it'll come crashing down soon. Anas and Pink down on low ground now. All they have to do is look up and beam. The grass is greener on the back half of EU Day 2. Anas and Pink control it down below. Chop down that high ground. This is it for them. A few more shots. How much does Floki have? Not enough. Pink now. We'll see towards the end. That's a double shot. That's a VR for your second last game from Pink and Anas.
A 7 elimination victory royale may just be enough to push them back into contention. They had a bit of a slow couple games, but they really did rally back together to get back involved. A brilliant display from Pink and Anas. We saw them win a couple games yesterday, and they're finally able to pick one up on day 2.
Power, speed, and most importantly, recovery for their performance on day number 2. They needed this, and look at that style from Pink. One swing, and the entire destiny of height changes. Anas gets close and comfortable with everyone on low ground as well. Big props for Floki for trying to survive that long. That's all the experience with practice, but it's not going to be enough when you're up against the 2 GOATs.
Pink and Anas did so well, but the big question is, right, going into this final game, what does that battle for first look like? Who will be the one to finally claim the AXA champions? The only people that can let us know, right, are Zeke, Boop, and Reese. So, gentlemen, take it away.
Okay, everybody, take a deep breath. Calm down. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. What is going on in Europe in Chapter 3, Season 1, okay? Someone's trying to make me have a heart attack right now. I cannot handle the incredible action that we're seeing, and now Pink and Anas are going, hey, whoa, with 1 game left? Yeah, we're going to aim for the top 10. We might even see you within the top 5. My goodness, Boop. I did not expect this to go the way that it goes, but once again, it's just chaos everywhere, man. And Pink and Anas, they just do what they got to do, right? They're like, oh, yeah, high ground? Let's just do that. Let's just do that, win the game.
Yeah, I mean, Pink and Anas, they saw everyone else getting the attention, say, hey guys, don't forget about us, day one winners, and they came back strong. This game they played a little bit more aggressively. They W-keyed over towards Camp Cuddle, and maybe that's the new playstyle. 7 eliminations victory royale for them. That's unheard of.
And I think it's really important to note that obviously they were first after day one. Prior to this game, so in the first 4 games today, they only had 23 points on top of the 156 they got yesterday. So that victory royale they got there is huge. Remember, every placement that they go up in the leaderboard, every threshold is more and more money. And that victory royale could A, put them in potential to win if they do well in the next game, but also just give them a bit more moolah.
Yeah.
There is 1 game left here in Chapter 3, Season 1, FNCS Finals. We have to turn attention to the standings. We have to set the stage here as we prepare for the last game of the season here in Europe.
Oh
I
my.
cannot believe it is Boop and I with Tayson and Thomas HD versus Shia Wager, Levin, 2K, and Reese, who all think Hen and Queasy can win 4 points of difference. Listen, we have like 4 minutes before we have to jump into this game. Boop, Reese, just set the stage here as we prepare for this last game.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like we get paid to do this, right? Look at that analysis. It's absolutely impeccable. I mean, this is coming through, right? All of the experience coming in now. This is what it's all about. Multiple FNCS winners and Tailness there inside as well. But, widely regarded as one of the best players in the world. Now finally showing up in the finals. And with 1 game to go, it's all about cracking under pressure. Who will succeed? Whose experience will balance out? I don't know. What do you think, Reese?
I mean, every team in this top has the potential to win in the next game is an FNCS champion level team. The top 3 teams are nearly all FNCS champions outside of Thomas HD, which
Janice.
We all know. I said 3, we'll move down to 4. Yeah, okay. We know that he has the potential. He has the skill to be able to do that. Hen and Queasy, FNCS champions, Tayson, the 4-time FNCS champion, Kiriachi and Stormy Wright from Chapter 2 Season 7 champions as well. Obviously, Janice, multiple times. There's so many people in here that are looking to get a multiple time. And you've got to think that last endgame, Stormy Wright was the only player in the top 5 alive still, and he clutched up big points from him. That's why he's now up in 3rd.
I mean, you couldn't write it better. And as well, I love to mention Trulex and Chico. Trulex, I feel like he's the forgotten FNCS winner, never mentioned with Queasy and Jerky. He's always there. He's so close by. But, they had such a great game there. I feel like the underdogs coming in, but they're so close as well. 25 points only. You never know what can happen in these early game skirmishes. Something could go wrong. Someone could make a misstep. And, everyone can still win.
100%. I think it's really important to know also that Hen and Queasy, no victory royales to date in the 11 games, and their playstyle is game winning. They are guys who go up to high ground. They are guys who pick up the victory royales. So to see them without any and be on top of the leaderboard is super impressive. Here's obviously the next list of teams. Everyone here, you got to even know, 208 points. What's that, like 61 or something like that behind the first? Like, that's a victory royale with 11 eliminations. And, obviously that won't put them into first because those players will probably get points as well. But again, that's a top 5, hugely potential for the players at the top of this.
It all comes down to this. 1 final game in Europe, and to see how close our top 10 is. Don't forget, as I've mentioned before, and I will always mention, even players in your 11th through 20th, they're trying to jump up into that top 10 as well, right? They may not get first, but when you're talking a difference in prize money, that's what they're aiming for right here, right now. I just want to get super quick thoughts, okay? We have about 50 seconds before we're going to hang out with the casters. Expectations going into the final game. Boop, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I want us all to just look at high gun this game because it's all dependent. Like, are we going to have people fighting for high gun? Are we going to 50-50? Are we going to play more passively? And I think that's where the experience comes through yet again. I don't think Queasy and Hen are going to go for it straight away. I don't think Thomas G and Tasty go for it right away. I don't know. It's a big question mark.
I mean, realistically, any of these teams go down, they're not winning early, right? So that's hugely to watch out the top 3. Usually in this situation, I'd say that more experienced players will be the ones who are going to look out for it. But all 3 top teams are like the most veteran players in there. When you go down the list, you start to get to other FNCS champions pairing up with newer players too. So, hey, I just want to watch the last game. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Well,
here we go.
Reese, Boop, let's get ready to do this. Fortnite fam, one final game here in Europe to decide it all. Legends Landing, if you guys are watching, hit us with the emotes. Let the hype rise as we board the battle bus one last time. Shia Wager, 11-2K. Let's go again.
What is our life? This is what we wanted, but I couldn't have never imagined that it would truly be delivered to us in this manner. The final game of the FNCS. It's been a great season, but this is about to be an even greater finish.
We thought it wouldn't be close. Day one looked like, yeah, the leaderboard is what it is, but there's clear leaders that are pushing us forward in Europe. That changed immediately when we landed on day two. And now, Levin, there's two teams at the top who do not want to go down.
And even just shortly behind that, right, we have even more teams who really could have a say in how this thing plays out. It's been an intense couple of games, but there's really not going to be one as nail-biting as this. We head into the final game of the FNCS right now.
Game number 12, European FNCS, $1.3 million on the line to hand out to every player. A 4-point game at the top, much closer past that, all the way down. It's the 50 best teams you can watch play in the world. And Thomas HC and Tayson, they're rocking down with a lot of damage. I find this slightly uncharacteristic. I haven't really seen this form of landing before, but I like what I'm watching. Every single strat is out for this game. Thomas HD and Tayson are second place overall. They really want it.
And they're not too far from first. It's literally the smallest of differences between it. Bad Sniper goes down early in Tilted Towers. What's going on? They've had the better of Benji and Savage for so long, but Phoenix, who was at Covert before, now over at Tilted and takes down Bad Sniper. So our 7th place team has a new hurdle to climb in this game.
Every person that likes to tune in sometimes only comes through for the final game of Fortnite for the regions. If you're not comfortable or used to watching competitive Fortnite, every single player has a certain drop they usually land at. Right now, that's being changed up inside Tilted. That's where Benji and Savage, a lot of names you guys recognize, are going to be landing. That's where a bunch of players on the map are. Free Llama for Hen and Queasy as well. Why are this team or this duo important, Levin?
Oh, they sit in first place. They hold the keys to the lobby right now, Shia.
Oh, interesting. And they have a Llama as well. Haven't gotten a single launch pad all day, somehow still in that first place. Psycho Clown and Oipic. Rolls will also be rolling through right now. A team that has never really been in the FNCS finals. A team that just plays like just another duo you'll have to watch throughout the day. They aren't legends. They're making their new stride. They're the next generation. And right now, they've been struggling on a fight off spawn over and over again. Somehow still in that top 10. Rolls is down, all down to Clown. Him against Hookah and Zestin 1v2. This is not the same as many other games we see. Usually they're winning this off-spawn fight. But now you see things as well from the starting position. 2v2. A third party doesn't come in fast. It's Chapix and Seti who are here, who've been having a rough finals the entire time. These are legends in their own right, but they haven't found their footing in EU this weekend.
Yeah, in last game, we saw Chapix and Seti try to get involved in this fight, come in third party, and they were just a bit too late to the action. This time, though, they are speedy. They're quick with it. They don't want to miss out, and this is exactly why they know that they can capitalize. Clown has a 2v1, and even though they've not been on, a 2v1 is never a fun fight to take.
Entire day out of 50 duos that are playing so far. They're rising up in the ranks as of some of the last games. Crazy things have been going down. There's been ties for first. There have been both teammates on both sides of that upper echelon going down. These guys sneakily have risen. Levin, they're never in vision. They're never on our screens in terms of how they do things, how they stay alive. They're never next to the top 10 in terms of their boxes. Somehow, though, in the top 3, though.
It's crazy because this was very much looking like a two-headed race. But these guys have just pushed their way in, barged everyone through. Kiwi actually telling everyone, look, I am an FNCS champion and I want to be one again. They sit just 1 point behind second and not far away from first either. DKF finally being taken out there. And that's real rough in terms of the pickaxe coming through.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Everything being thrown through the doors in terms of this last game. Seti and Chapix, their battle's not done either. Swifty, you'll notice the number beside these nameplates, the numbers at the bottom left as well. That's the overall placement for these teams. It'll be 38th, battling another team that's somewhat in the 30s as well. Seti no mats, has to jump all the way down, and unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. Chapix is gone as well. Huddy and Swifty rise up the ranks.
That's going to be all 9 lives gone for Seti and Chapix. Taken out. It's just not been their tournament. Sometimes the hard work just doesn't connect with the result. But that's where they hit the drawing board and they come back stronger next season. But in the meantime, in the rest of the lobby, our second place team, another game where they have launch pads, all the shield they could possibly ask for, and another zone. Is that 12 out of 12 zones in the northwest of the map? Everything literally has gone perfectly for them in that regard. They've had the perfect circumstances, and now they have the opportunity to deliver.
When did Janix and Vortex get into fourth? These guys have just been chilling the entire time. They literally get one win and they sleep and they do nothing for the rest of the day. Somehow, in top 5, next to Kuriachi, next to, we have Thomas Tayson and Henan Queasy as well. I mean, if these guys are in contention and they're focused level, right? I mean, this team always just feels like they lack focus. If they're focused, it's the business, it's time. Talk about the business too. Benji Fishy looking kind of nice with the tux, he's rolling in. But unfortunately, Savage once again down 114 points. They're in 30th place overall. Benji almost out of match. He has to 1v2 to keep that prize money potential alive. 166. Slap Phoenix in the face. He's not fooling around. You can see him too. He's looking kind of dicey with it. But those extra points confirmed. Smart from him because that's more likely than getting that second Elim. Their story will end today in 30th.
Benji and Savage will just have to go next. It wasn't their day. They started off well, but cooled off eventually. Janice and Vortex, though, it's hard to predict at times their trajectory. They start off hot, and they look like they fizzled out, but then they come back striking harder than ever.
When it comes to Janice and Vortex, I'm just scared watching them every time. They are just periodically shaking a soda can, and you want it to explode in endgame. Sometimes, though, the pressure gets too high. Earlier in the game, they start making crazy mistakes. The pressure gets too much. Fizz everywhere. Trulex Chico as well. I feel like they are so good in their journey, never actually arrive at their destination in the most glorious way. Have the best spots. Look at this tower. Look at the beams. It's looking mighty fine for Chico and Trulex right now. As soon as endgame starts, they start to panic. The high ground they control, taken over. The front side of the zone, absolutely overpopulated. There's no chance for them to really stay alive at all.
It's rough, right? Because you watch them, especially in that last game, where they roll through, they go on height. Trulex trying to show people he did play with Queasy, right? He understands the ways of the high ground, but they just haven't quite been able to materialize it yet. They still sit in 5th place, and it's been an impressive run. But will they be able to close it out in even more spectacular fashion?
Lots of action all around the map. We'll see some of those middling teams go down and go for their final fights on the Fortnite Island. PKR and Mappy having a little bit of a rough day, but they find a few eliminations back and forth. Kiko and Mosh, not going to make it too easy for them though. PKR finally going down, taking over. Meanwhile, Stompy Jew, they're rocking in as well. The right side of the island. It's been such a rough fight, and it's not going too well for them either.
I feel so sad watching all of these fights because the reality is the nature of Fortnite, the nature of this community is with a lot of these teams, this is going to be the last time we ever see them compete with each other. Genuinely, this might be the last time you ever see Benji Fishy with Mr. Savage by his side in a lobby of this caliber. Every single fight is just a closing of the chapter for so many of these teams.
And now I want to focus on a little bit of the top 4. Who are they? What are their qualities? How do they play? For me, Henan and Queasy, if they had a superpower, it'd be invisibility, Levin. Somehow untouched as they move around, get to high ground, undetected, unseen, and then just have power and control.
They truly are thieves in the night, right? Always available there to steal high ground away from whoever thinks they have it. But these guys truly have shown at times that they can be the bosses in that regard. And so sitting in first, again, that confidence is strong for them.
On the bottom left, Kiriachi and Stormy right, I would give them the tags of duelists. Very good at taking fights 2-on-2 against one other team. That's how they build up their surge. That's how they beam people across the map. As soon as you add a third party to the mix, though, I feel like that has been their weakness throughout the entire day.
The big thing for them, though, is that if they can get deeper into these games, they've shown that in end games, they can find control on low ground, right? Even in all the chaos and all the madness, they can be the ones to stop anybody from dropping down and finding any sense of a home down there. And so that really is the winning condition for those boys.
We end up with Thomas and Tayson. I would call them team marketing. Every single zone in the entire game on their POI, every single situation, flexing them. But at the same time, they have the best drop in the game 11. Launch pads, time and time, over and over again, right? That is something that's so scarce in this meta. If you're used to watching Fortnite in the past, yeah, they might be prevalent. Over here, not many teams have them. And also being said, they're the unfair team. We mentioned it, right? Imagine having to deal with Thomas HD, one of the best players in the world. You take him down, Tayson pops up. What do?
There's not much you can do other than just be knocked or be eliminated, right? Oftentimes, it's like running into a brick wall. How many times can you continue to run into that brick wall without realizing that there is nothing you can do?
They are basically the final boss, and they've got 2 phases, is what I'm trying to put down here. You have to be able to do the entire fight without being scathed, touched even once, or you're down. Then we have Janice and Vortex in 4th place. I mean, these guys, I don't know what tag to add to them. Mystery men, an enigma. I don't know how they approach this game. You have a knack for them, Levin. You know exactly when they can win. You've called it multiple times. Talk to me here.
They truly are what you expect from a Dark Horse team. One that maybe hasn't been given the credit as one of the best teams in the EU or in the world, but they truly are just that. Complete in all phases of the game. Early game, solid. Mid game, secure. And end game is where they can explode. Vortex, one of the strongest, more exciting players in all the land. And Janice, a veteran who knows how to do it and win on all stages. They truly are one of the bigger threats, and they have been, and they will continue to be in this lobby.
To round out the top 5, we did talk about Trulix and Chico for just a little bit. Nomads just trying to find a home, just trying to find a way to get comfortable. Once again, I think this is just a masterclass of mid-game damage, 401 above in terms of handling Surge. And they just get to endgame, and that's where, you know, it's tough. No one's giving them a hitchhike ride anymore. No one's trying to help them out in terms of giving them the space. That being said, what is this new tag that just popped up on your screen on the top, or I guess right side, the damage threshold? This is Surge. You have to deal enough damage, or else you will basically start to take damage from the entire server. And with that being said, that's one of the things that everyone's been focusing on inside the mid game. Early game, it's all about winning your POI. Late game, obviously getting as many elims as you can and winning. But in the middle, every team you'll realize will start to make bases or push boxes and start to handle their Surge. Just a way to keep people active as they play the game. You deal damage or you take damage, that's all it is.
We've got to scram the team on our C Green. They've been a bit all over the place at times when it comes to their ability to do damage when it matters the most. If these guys can get their Storm Surge dealt with, they will be a threat in endgame, one of the more experienced teams. But that in itself is a big question mark. Will they be able to do that? You can see Queasy and Hen posted up on this hill. This is their attempt to deal with their Storm Surge. You can see they're up so high, they can see everybody in this general area. And so once somebody pops out, right there, just what Queasy did. Take some shots. That damage goes a long way in the journey. Just trying to stay above the Storm Surge.
It's Tayson and Thomas are taking damage towards. This just happened in the last game. They saw each other. They were tied for points. Right now, I believe Queasy's about 4 ahead. This is 1st and 2nd, though, and Hen and Queasy ended up taking out Thomas and Tayson. They're also 11, the only people in this spot that can actually look at each other and go for shots. They're going to be rattling up against each other. Depending on this performance, we'll see who's allowed to play this game, who actually has that damage and the Surge.
And if this zone goes further southeast, right, they could end up having to rotate almost side by side each other. We saw what happened, right? Last time that happened, it didn't end well for either team. And so look, that journey's going to have to start being made, and it's going to be real rough. They've so far sort of just traded, which is all right because they both have lots of shields because of the POIs they come from. But at a certain point, you don't want to trade anymore. At a certain point, you want to be the one that alphas the other.
Always want to be the one coming out on top. Right now, the differences for all these teams, I want to explain it a little bit and what they're walking away with today. Hen and Queasy, as of right now, are sitting on $300,000 in their position in 1st place. The difference between them and Thomas and Tayson are sitting on $200,000. There's a $100,000 difference between these teams. 4 points that are worth basically $100,000. Behind them with Stormy Ray and Kiriachi, 3rd place overall, will walk away with $150K. So you can see the amount start to get up and up more as we go through these rankings. Vortex and Janice, 120k2 at 4th, looking good for now, but once again, this is only if these teams survive and maintain these spots. We've seen it every game. Whoever is 1st and 2nd, they start to dwindle. They go a little bit back and forth. Their position changes drastically when the next game starts. Last game was a catch-up for the rest of the board, which makes this one so much more so interesting. Everyone is about 10, 20-ish points next to each other. That is just a little bit of placement overall.
You can see they're positioned right here in the middle of the lake. Actually somewhere where I've seen them look to position themselves in the past. Relatively central in this 3rd zone, and it means that when 4th pops, they're likely to pull it. But if things don't go their way, things could get messy, right? Just sort of isolated here in the middle of everything. But the big thing is they have experience here, right? They've literally pulled this kind of zone so many times, whether that be in other qualifiers, in scrims, practice, so they'll know exactly what the right protocol is. They have it all planned to a T.
Thing is, you might have a plan, it can still look kind of drastic. They're 20 points behind overall from Thomas HD and Tayson, right? 20 points, that's a lot of eliminations needed. Each Elam worth 3. You can do the math, they gotta just keep racking things up and have a stellar performance. Tayson goes down to Aqua. This split base to try to gain control of the north side of the map leads to disastrous results for Thomas HD. He will try to go for a little bit of that finish on Noah Riley. He will come through. Maybe he can get the mats. But the 2nd place team, the head-to-head matchup we were looking forward to facing and watching, gets fractured in half. And Tayson is down.
Thomas truly is half man, half amazing, but at what point is it too much for him? At what point is it really too much of a mountain to climb? This is going to be a real tough ending. Aqua was able to get the reboot on O'Reilly, but Thomas won't be able to have that same benefit. And even then, it doesn't matter.
He gets 3 more. Noah Riley brought back from the lobby by Aqua. There's no chance for Aqua to go back. The zone does too much damage now to get the reboot again, but that's 3 points for Thomas HD to have again. He just has to wait. There's an airdrop here as well. That's another pad. If there is a person in this game that can solo an endgame, it might be Thomas. He might have another free pick here. It's up against Aqua. He knows it's the 1v1, but the more noise he makes, everyone else on the server will start to shoot, and those shots start to come from a long distance. They won't do too much damage, but Thomas has to be careful. One mistake, his HP totals go down. He has to just push forward for this fight. 35 seconds left for the zone move as well. He has some time to work with, but in all these metal builds, this SMG is not going to do too much damage to those fully built walls. To try to go for that pressure, he's going to elect to just back up a bit. Go for the package. It's going to be fine. Will it drop a launch pad? Does he have the marketing? No. No pad for him. No, yes, yes, absolutely. 2 pads now for him to rock in with. I have to assume that Tayson might have used one earlier on before, so it's going to be fine for him for now. Aqua is going to be here on low ground, fully beefed up with the shield. I'm not sure what the search situation looks like for Thomas HD either. But what I do know is there are at least 4 teams looking this way. No matter what decision he makes here, the eyes will be on him in this lobby.
This is going to be a real tough rotation. Aqua lands at the bugle, so he has the web shooters, I believe. And Thomas doing what probably was the best option, right? Looking to go towards this hill, using it as cover. And he does take a bit of damage, but he has the shields to recover. But that's just even less shields to use deeper into the game. And he still has his eyes set on Aqua. He realizes that every little point helps. Oh, wow. He's 64 below as well, so he actually just needs to damage straight up in terms of surge.
Look at the points in 3rd place. 265 right now, and Thomas is at 266. Yeah, the 3 points will help overall, but he will fall down the standings if he can't live. Yes, the Elim, it'll be huge. Yes, to this point, you go down in the top 3, you might be able to hold on to top 10, but this man wants to win. He wants to be on the podium. So does Tayson. And clutch sprays coming in from up above. Will it update the threshold? No, just 37 below still. Thomas HD is in trouble. He'll have to use one of his pads directly in the line of sight of other players. Not everyone opens up. He's going for the 1v1. Aqua jumping in the box, but Aqua lands a big shot, controls the wall, bounced back. Thomas HD somehow survives, doesn't own any of these walls. Aqua, I think, just got beamed down as well right in front of him. Now the entire lobby is focusing him, and Thomas HD is down.
That might just be it. I doubt their 2nd place will hold with Kiriachi and Stormy right looking so strong. And so what was setting up to be a photo finish for them might be the end of their FNCS run. And if Hen and Queasy have been paying attention to the feed, that will be huge for them.
This happened last game though. They took down Thomas HD and Tayson, and then the next 20 seconds they looked a bit too happy-go-lucky. They got a bit too fruitful with the way they were playing the game. A miss-edit a little bit possibly. They were trying to hit a pad, but looks like I got blocked. They'll go down for it again, blocked once more. Hen falls down and jumps. They barely took any damage, just one zone tick. They're looking good, composed. All they need to do right now is stay alive.
And they can do that. They've been able to so well. We talked about how they can be so sneaky, almost like they're invisible in these games. And some nice damage being dealt. Hen, you can feel he's in rhythm, hitting the shots when needed. And this is everything. This is their chance. Last year, FNCS, the first one of the year, Hen was victorious. 2022, can he do it again?
We need to stay with them for this one. We haven't watched the way they really take height, hold it. Yes, we tune in with a bunch of other POVs as well, but I really want to see the decisions they make. Look at this expert spot. They're still picking up a few eliminations. None of them will actually go towards points credits, though. It's just the pressure, because Tripper and Vidil are there to pick those ones up. It's fully aquatic. 11-2K, look at the zone.
I'm loving this. I am absolutely loving this. And if you remember back, right, this will be great for Janice and Vortex. They were prepared, right? And so I'm sure they'll be sitting pretty. The Hen and Queasy deal with it so well. And you can see Hen doesn't stop, right? He's constantly looking for these opportunities. He can smell it from a mile away. And now, as the zone pulls towards that northeast, this is where champions are made. 104 below somehow on a 273. The update came through. But Hen, Queasy versus Stormy Rat and Kiriachi is the story to follow for today.
On the left side of your screen, just pay attention to those golden lights. They're jumping straight into the storm, and yes, they do actually grab the pad. Lots of damage done. They'll have to drop down and heal. I'm tracking them. They're going towards the front side of the zone. On the right side, you can see their POV going up, and away towards high ground. Almost a straight-up second height. Do they find each other, though? Are they together? Yes, that is the case. Still good above Surge. Queasy takes a little bit over on the tarp. Hen starts to move in as well. Armored wall put down, so they have a moment to breathe. Hen and Queasy are making this run to win EU FNCS.
And Karma and Booback may sit on height for the meantime, but I can assure you, Hen and Queasy will start to look, and you can already see Hen peeking up. But just before, he'll look to try see if they can get any more eliminations, anything that can get the material count up and healthy. But it's all about that timing for when they look for height.
Have to be controlled here. Bubak might just go down, get angry with it. Queasy actually stumbles, falls, gets beamed. It's someone in their build. I think Bubak's getting close and personal. 276 for Hen. It's not going to be enough to just win the entire tournament. He's going to have to clutch by himself. The wonder kid from seasons before has to grow up to be a man. One elimination. He's all on his own. Has almost maximum wood, but no more hard mats up against the wall of Vidil. A tough fight to win. Gains control of the ramp. Has a chance for an edit. Just wants to get the materials, get a little bit out of it. He's on this floor. It's not his. Has to be careful. This is crazy. Spicy Splashes has 8 of them. He can really move around and has a lot of mats to work with as well. He's going to tank this zone as much as possible. Look at that golden light lost in the darkness. Hen has to keep this run alive. 284 points. He's getting higher in these standings. 13 teams left. Bubak still has height. What a nice swing. He's on second height right now. Has to relieve that pressure. Maybe drop down slightly. No, he doesn't get focused by anyone. Full hard master for him to use as well. Bubak starts to rattle on the cage that Hen is in, but this man is no chicken, no turkey. He's a beast. He's looking for the shots on the Janice and Vortex. Another armored wall he's showing for the moment right now. That golden right surrounded by enemies from all and every single side. Someone's waiting. Jump inside Hen's box. One miss at it. Could be his demise. Goes for a few more shots and heal him down below. He still doesn't find it. How is Hen still alive from this moment? Has a lot of mats to work with. He'll go off from the right side. 286, first place. Is still shining bright and looking true. A double jump in midair too. He's found his next box.
Hen's done so well to stay alive. He's done everything he possibly can, and he won't stop here. Damage applying pressure like he has, gets Karma down. Chug Smasher, when the siphon comes in, that will be huge for his HP. He's done brilliantly. 291 points is going to be a mountain that not many teams can climb. Karma and Janice down, and so this is going to be real difficult for all of these teams left trying to fight for the AXA champions.
6 teams, 6 players. It's a solos FNCS basically, and Hen is going for high ground. 1v1, toe to toe, up against Bubak. One edit, he's got no shield. Hen needs to win this. He has control. This is a solo clutch of your career, my friend, and you're about to win the FNCS if you hold on. No mats, armored wall. This is all he has left.
He's done everything. He's solo clutch. We know he has that ability. No materials left, but he still is able to apply damage. Won't get that elimination, but he will hold on.
Starts to spray one more person in his way to sit those down on the low ground. All it has to do is wait. The drop down, the beam, it's almost enough, and has it. 1v1, 297 points. This is for the European Championship. All he has to do is take down Walks, solidify it. He has enough points already, but do it in style, my friend. The VR is just in your grasp. Hen as a solo against the world, and he wins the European FNCS.
He has the motivation, he has the drive, the hunger, and the thirst for greatness. He is greatness, and Queasy will win the first FNCS of the year. And what a way to do it. The solo clutch when all the odds were against him, and the boy from Britain is able to do it. Wow.
That's just what you expect from a man who was born in this mode. Someone who gave us the best stories from Chapter 2 and possibly even the big moments we saw from Chapter 1. I mean, Hen right now, to do it from that early as a solo, monumental, crazy, what a shot. I'm just so happy. A comeback performance as well at 11. They were so behind from that first day.
It was crazy, right? They had so high expectations coming into the FNCS finals, and it started off slow. There were doubts about their ability, but they just kept rising and rising shy throughout the tournament, and they seal it out. They've looked like the best duo all season long, and they finished the season the best duo as well.
Absolutely crazy from these guys. I don't know how to explain it. They just went away from everyone else into their own world, their own time chamber, and then came out complete champions. I mean, that's what we love to see. And Levin, casting this with you, man. I mean, first run for both of us. It was also awesome from start to finish.
There's nobody I'd rather do it with, man. It's been one of the best days of Fortnite I've seen in a long, long time. It's been an absolute blast, and I can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely. We'll toss it back over to Zeke, Boop, and Reese. I mean, that was a lifetime.
You just gotta give them the applause. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hen, Queasy, it's in those moments, man, that we live for. Those moments of clarity, of just pure, serene tranquility, where they can just say, it doesn't matter what happens. I have the confidence. I have put everything into this performance, into this final game. And to then walk away the winner, Boop. It is just, is there a better feeling? I don't think so.
That is just ridiculous. The incredible mental fortitude to do it as a solo. It was 5 at the end there. It was basically a solo tournament. And everything, all the pressure on the line, everything on his shoulders, he just did it. I'm lost for words. Absolutely speechless. Hen has secured himself as one of the best players in Fortnite history. What a man.
That is one of the best moments in Fortnite ever. Like, hands down, there is one of the best moments in Fortnite ever. The solo clutch from Hen. Queasy obviously went down to that spray, as we noticed there. But I can't even speak at this moment. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm seeing the reactions coming out from them on Twitter right now. Queasy shaking, literally. He said he's almost passing out watching Hen solo clutch do this, what we just saw here. And I am, again, I'm just speechless. Great analyst, I know, I understand, but, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, let's go a little bit more analytical. You know, when we saw them in day number 1, you know, we saw them sort of, they maybe had lost a little bit of hope, right? And then that last game, we saw just a glimmer, just a tiny little glimmer of hope. And today, they just turned it to the absolute maximum. You know, at the beginning of the show, we alluded to the feeling that Queasy had. You know, yesterday, everything went wrong for him. And today, looked like everything went right. Hen was on top, Queasy was on top, and that is just absolute beautiful Fortnite that we see from them, just ridiculous stuff, and it makes me so happy to be here to witness it.
I know, and you know, going into this game, I said they have no victory royales. I said these guys are game winners.
bestie and your best.